at 7:01 p.m. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If we can start sending around the attendance sheet. Do we have attendance? Oh, it's already going around. Fantastic. No, we're missing a few folks. Let me just make sure we reach quorum right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have not yet reached quorum. I know that Zara is on her way from her town hall, so I anticipate, okay, Nicole's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know, I'm gonna wait till but we can't technically vote on anything until she's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maybe we'll start with public comment tonight, given that we can't take a vote on anything because we don't have quorum right now. So a bit unorthodox, we'll start with that. To members of the public, there are many of you here. We have 30 minutes allotted for public comment tonight. Every public commenter will be allotted a maximum of 2 minutes. First round of public comment will be non-audio, non-visual. So we'll then move on to audio, no visual, and then audio and visual. So we'll begin public comment tonight at 7:02 p.m. We'll just go ahead, I'll tell you. Non-audio, non-visual public comment. With no audio, sorry, yes audio, no visual public comment, beginning of this side of the room.
Hi everyone, I'm Shifty. I'm the External Vice President for the Group Democrats, and I just wanted to invite council members again to come to our meeting tomorrow at Ackerman 3517. We're going to be talking about the election that's happening tonight. Luckily, Democrats are winning in Virginia. We just won in New Jersey. We're waiting on New York and a referendum in, I believe, New Hampshire. So we're going to be watching those. We're also going to be talking about a potential government shutdown regarding DACA. And the last thing we're going to be talking about, a little bit controversial, Donna Brazil's revelations about the Democratic primary in Rick. We're going to have a vigorous discussion about that. Whether you support what she said or don't support what she said, bring your ideas, and we're looking for a full discussion. And I hope to see all council members there. If you cannot make it, we'll have plenty more meetings, and you'll see us here every week. Thank you so much. 3517, 6 to 7.
Thank you so much. Again, this is audio but no video. Public comment. We're going to resume in the side of the room. So that'll be the end of our audio but no video comment. We'll resume with audio and video public comment beginning on this side of the room.
Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Norris, and as some of you may know, I am one of the appointments directors in the USAC Office of the President. I just wanted to, I decided to come out on, my own volition today and really express my concern about many of the appointments that are being made tonight. As one of the appointments directors in the Office of the President, it is always our goal to be reaching out to areas of campus that are typically not touched, and a lot of the time we're reaching out to campus organizations, and we really feel like we're doing a really adequate job of trying to reach as many spaces on campus as possible in order to find people from across campus that are, extremely qualified and ready to take on these positions. As I was reading through the agenda for tonight's council meeting, I was a little, shocked to find out that many of the appointments being made were, members of senior members of staff of some of the USAC offices. That was concerning to me. And in addition, it was also concerning to me because I feel like sometimes our appointments in the office of the president are held to different standards. Another thing that did not happen was that a lot of stipended positions were not able to meet with ARC. From what I've heard, in addition, these appointments were to be made last week, and yet again, it's been quite some time, and it's slightly concerning that ARC has not had time to meet with a lot of these stipended appointments. And so I just came to express my concern about such, and I hope that the council sort of takes into account these considerations.
We're going to resume with audio and video public comment.
I started undergraduate with council last year, did not receive a stipend, so if you're not that's a stipend position or not, I would let that check with council.
So, sorry, what was the question?
I don't believe the academic amendments are stipended. If they are, I did not receive them last year.
But per bylaws, none of the academic senate appointments are stipended. They're action items because they were changed 3 years ago.
So they are action items.
They're action items, but they're not stipended positions.
Okay.
None of the ones that sit on the academic senate are stipended.
So we can discuss, so this is still public comment. I don't want to take away from the public's time to speak, but we can discuss that when we get to appointments. We'll again resume with public comments starting over here, audio and video. Seeing as there's no further public comment, we will call the end of public comment at 7:08 p.m. We will go back to the top of our agenda, beginning with the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Is there a second? Can we get the motion second and then move into discussion? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Adriana. Now, great. Is there?
Can I add an optional member report in closed session?
Yes.
We strike the article.
Yes. Yes, Nicole. How long to officer members? Great. So did everyone hear the three things? We're adding the CSC member, officer member report, Gen 1 officer member report, and striking the ARC allocation. There's a motion on the table and a second, so we're going to go through with our vote today, beginning with IVP.
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen 1?
Yes.
Gen 2?
Yes.
Gen 3?
Yes.
AAC? CEC? CSC? And CAC?
Yes.
Facilities? FSC?
Yeah.
SWC? And TSF?
Yes.
By a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 0 to 0, this motion passes and our agenda has been approved as amended. Great. We are now going to move on to the approval of the minutes from October 24th, 2017. Hopefully everyone had the opportunity to review those. Is there now a motion to approve the minutes from October 24th, 2017?
I move to approve the minutes from October 24th, 2017.
Is there a second? Thank you, Saran. Let's get okay, beginning with IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen 1?
Yes.
Gen 2?
Yes.
Gen 3?
Yes.
AAC? I'm just going to ask that we all vocalize a little bit more. The mic is having trouble catching things, and as per the data grievance request, it's important that we be more clear. So please vocalize when you're speaking. So AAC, that was a yes. CEC? Not here. CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SWC?
Yes.
TSR?
Yes.
Great. By a vote of 1, 2, 3, 11 to 0 to 0, this motion passes and our minutes from October 24th, 2017 have been approved. Moving on to our minutes from October 31st, 2017. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from October 31st, 2017.
Emily, is there a second? Thank you, Saran. Again, with the vocal roll call, beginning with IVP.
Yes.
EVP.
Yes.
Gen 1.
Yes.
Gen 2.
Yes.
Gen 3.
Yes.
AAC. CSC. CAC.
Yes.
FSC,
Yes.
SWC, and TSI.
Yes.
By a vote of 10 to 0 to 1, this motion passes and our minutes have been approved. We've now done we've already done public comment. We're going to move on to special presentations. Tonight we've got two, beginning with Lieutenant Kilgore from the UCPD. Just a reminder to our presenters, you have 15 minutes to present, followed by 5 minutes of question and answer with the council. Thank you again for joining us, Lieutenant Kilgore.
Good evening. As promised, I'm back, and we'll continue to be each month for your meetings. A couple things going on this week. If you are not aware yet, there's been a promotion for texting while driving simulator that will be taking place tomorrow on Wilson Plaza from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's an actual vehicle that has a turtle-shaped dome shell that goes over top of it, and it will give you an idea of what it's like to text and drive and see, take your hand at how well you think you can do. I'm sure we're all guilty of it. I am included in that, but I do my best not to violate the law and text while driving. So it's significant because the number of lives that it claims every year and the significant injuries that are caused by vehicle accidents that take place because of distracted driving. So if you have the opportunity and you're out on Wilson Plaza, come out and check it out tomorrow. We'll be out from 10 to 2, and it is a national tour. This past week, I had the opportunity to meet with Divya and speak with Ariel as well. I've spoken to Chief Lee and my captain, Captain McKinney, who was here at the last meeting, and we're adding a space on the Police Chief Advisory Council for a rotating student to join Ariel as a representative on that council. So Divya and Ariel will work with all of you and any external and internal groups that you work with to find out who is interested in being on that council and rotating through to see what it is like. And we really want to involve as many student representatives as we can in this process because this is an ongoing thing. It happens every other month. We take a hiatus during summer because no one's here other than non-students. And it started I think we started our first one in September. And the next one will be in December. That's coming up. So Ariel and Divya both have that information. If you have any questions about that, feel free to contact them or contact me. And I think that's about all that's going on with us. I asked last time for your help in getting our officers and our department more involved with student groups and groups on campus. I haven't heard from anyone yet, so I'm encouraging you to please reach out to me because we do want to be a part of student groups that represent the campus as a whole and provide a well-rounded representation of not only you as government, but the campus as well, and our external partners as well. So I'll leave that there. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to take that.
So we're moving in our academic Q&A now. Lee?
Just in terms of like how you see the police integrating with student groups on campus, just in terms of how you see the student police integrating with student groups on campus, like I would like to know how you visualize that happening, or though there are some groups on campus that feel unsafe even with police presence, like how would you plan to go about like reducing that fear and actually like integrating into student groups?
Well, we subscribe to what's called the contact theory. I teach a class on procedural justice, implicit bias, and police legitimacy. And I teach contact theory, and that is getting our officers and our folks in our department and groups, wherever they may be, involved with one another to try to break down the barriers that exist, to have effective discussions and conversations, and to try to reduce that fear as much as we can. Because I think as people get to know our officers, they stop looking at a uniform, they realize the human being that's in that uniform, and they realize that we have some of the same struggles that folks have out in the general public. And so it's to have that one-on-one conversation. I think Divya can probably testify that when we had a chat this week, he ended the conversation with, I got to know Kevin as a person, and that's what our goal is as a department. But because of that fear that does exist, we have a hard time getting into different groups on campus. So we need that access either through you or through someone you know who can give us that access and start to work on those relationships.
Any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Lieutenant Kilgore, for joining us again tonight. Give a round of applause. Thank you so much. We're now going to move on to our second special presentation for tonight. Lauren from UCLA Bike Share is here to share with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Lauren. Again, we'll have 15 minutes to do your presentation, followed with 5 minutes of question and answer from the council.
Okay, I have some brochures about the program. Pass it around as I'm going along. Okay, here we go. Road Bike Share launched on campus a little over a month ago, October 3rd. So I'm going to tell you about Bike Share, what is Bike Share, and then go on to talk about the program that we have here on campus. So, Bike Share, what is Bike Share? So, Bike Share systems make bikes available for the public to use. So you can get around without using a car, without taking a lift through an Uber, getting to train stations, other public transit, getting around on campus. Basically, wheels when you need them. So one thing about Bike Share, it started in the 1960s, and since the 1960s, it's really kind of grown to a global phenomenon. We're in what I call the gold rush of Bike Share. It's everywhere. So these are actually the bikes in our warehouse ready to go out. This was taken a couple months ago, but we have programs like Santander Cycles in London that started in 2010. You have Tugway in Boston. You have Elite in Paris, which is like the program that made Bike Share kind of take off as a phenomenon. And you even have Leonardo DiCaprio riding City Bike. So we have kind of a global overview of Bike Share. Now we have systems right here in our backyard. UCLA launched, like I said, October 3rd, a little over a month ago. We have Santa Monica that just celebrated its 2-year anniversary, over 1 million miles ridden on that system. We have Beverly Hills, which launched in 2016 along with West Hollywood. We help Hills Bike Share. And we're actually working on integrating all of these systems so that you'll be able to use your same account to access bikes when you're riding down the beach in Santa Monica, or strolling down Sunset Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood. Okay, so how does Bike Share, our system, how does our system of Bike Share work? Download the Social Bicycles app and select the My Bike Share network. You'll get an account number and you'll create your own number. And you'll enter that or your phone number into the keypad on the back of the bike. It's on the back of every single one of our bikes. That will unlock the bike and you can get riding, and then when you're done, just lock it up, leave it, and you're done. So, our bikes have the latest generation technology. The bikes that started Bike Share in the 1960s, it was basically like you take a bike and you leave it and you lock it up with like a chain. These ones actually have GPS on board so that we know where all of our bikes are and you know where all of the bikes are. The GPS on board also solves the classic dock block problem that you'll see if you go visit city bike roads or something like that, where if you take a bike out and you want to dock your bike, but the dock is full, you have to keep riding. With this, because we have GPS on board, you can actually lock it up within 100 feet of a locked station or a full station, and the bike knows that it's in the right place, and you're done with it. The bike has 8 gears on this side, and then a bell on the side. Fully adjustable speed, it goes from 4'11" to 6'6", so it fits a wide variety of our students and staff and faculty on campus. There are nitrogen-inflated, puncture-resistant Kevlar tires, a dynamo that powers the integrated lights, a solar panel that charges the battery that enables the GPS and integrated lock to function. It's a very, very smart system and very vandalism and theft proof as well. So we like to use the Social Bicycles app. With the app, you can see real-time bike availability. This means that there are 5 bikes at that station. There's 11 over there for you to use, things like that. You can actually reserve a bike within the app. So if you're getting out of class in 10 minutes and you want to make sure that there's a bike waiting for you, you can reserve your bike ahead of time, walk out, unlock it with your PIN number, and get going. We even give credits for returning out-of-hub bikes back to a station. So with the GPS, I mentioned already that you can lock up within 100 feet of a station. You can actually even lock it up to any bike rack that you see on campus. It doesn't have to be at our stations. So using the app, you can find where the out-of-hub bikes are and return them back to our stations. Help us balance the system. We give you $1 credit each time. Through the app, you can also check out your ride stats and view the rides that you've taken. So before you get out there, I want to give you some quick tips. Always bike with the flow of traffic. It's really dangerous standing upstream, going against traffic. Always dismount in dismount zones. Watch for car doors opening. So if you're biking in like Westwood Boulevard or something, make sure that if there's a car parked here, you stay far enough from that parked car that if a driver opens the door, he doesn't nail you. That's one of the biggest injuries that we see as cyclists. So if you see a driver sitting in the driver's seat, pay attention to that, make eye contact in the mirror. Plot your route before you go. So make sure you know where you're going so that you're not taking crazy sudden turns, and be predictable and use hand signals. So I use this one if I'm turning this way, I use this one if I'm turning that way, I give my hand a little shake so that they know, and then I do this one for stop. And then accidentally click forward, but we're giving away free helmets if you sign up for we give away free helmets if you sign up for a monthly or annual founding membership. So those are very limited. Get one while it's hot and still available, and protect yourself. That's the end of my presentation, but I want to tell you some quick stats about how the program is doing. As of 4 or so when I left the office, we have 870 active users since we launched on October 3rd. Our users have taken 5,300 trips so far, which is equivalent to 3,400 pounds of carbon dioxide that we prevented from going into the atmosphere. And we've burned 155,000 calories, which is a lot of pizza. So does anyone have any questions about Burn Bike Share?
Well, thank you so much. Now we move into the Q&A. Are there any questions for Lauren?
Yes.
Would there eventually be the potential to have partnerships with other bike shares in the greater Los Angeles area so that you would be able to park your bikes at those hubs as well? Or
Yes, we're working on it. I don't have a firm date for you, but we are working with the cities of Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and West Hollywood to create one regional network so that you can take a bike from campus, drop it off in Santa Monica. Or say you want to ride to West Hollywood, you can take a bike, ride to West Hollywood, or ride when you're in West Hollywood using the same account number, your same phone number, that along the way.
So Malik, medical.
Would you think that would ever expand into downtown?
So I get this question a lot. Right now, not in the foreseeable future. They have a different program that they're using called Metro Bike, which is the same dock-based system that you see that we got in practice, right?
Nicole.
Yeah, so for like the pricing, I was just a little confused with the 7 an hour and then 7 a month.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so we're just giving you guys a huge discount. We have a pay-to-go plan that's $7 an hour, and it's prorated by the minute, so you're charged 12 cents a minute. But for that price, you might as well get yourself a free month of bike share. Well, not free, $7. And that $7 per month comes with an hour and a half of riding every single day.
Chloe?
This is a question more related to wheelchairs, but can you talk about any challenges that you encounter while trying to establish the bike lanes and specifically trying to have it set down this way?
So it's very, very political. It's very political and it takes a lot of voices. So if you want to advocate for more bike lanes in your area, I think Paul Peretz is a council member in this district. Go exercise your civic rights. Talk to city council members because it is important, and a lot of the success of programs like this depends on the existing infrastructure. So the more infrastructure that we can push for, the more success we will see in the long run. Yes. Yes. So we're working with the UCLA grounds team to install those. I think they just poured the concrete last week, so those should be installed very soon. Any questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
If you have any other questions, you can contact me, outreach@ruinmyshirt.com. Also, the baskets can carry 20 pounds, so I'm backpacking here.
And thank you so much, Rob, for putting us in contact with Lauren, so she can join us here.
Hi, guys.
So that is the conclusion of our special presentations for tonight. We're now going to move to appointments. We've got a ton of appointments coming from AAC. So without further ado, I will begin with those. The first appointment is a consent appointment to the student-initiated, I believe it's outreach now committee, not access. But
Oh, yeah.
yes, so that's Victor Gonzalez who's doing that. Deb, is there anything you want to say about the position specifically?
The consent, I don't think it all goes one. We don't know consent.
So my only hesitation is we set the precedent previously for other appointments going one by one, and I would hate to hold students to different. So if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Well, religious like work with, as it was last year, it would be great addition to the agreement. I know that we talked about, in the past, we talked about people within, SIOC being a part of the access project before. Victor was, mentioned as access coordinator last year, so. Or, I
don't want to be, so you don't have to, no, I was going to say if you wanted to explain anything about the position itself, just to make sure anyone, so does everyone understand what the student initiated outreach committee is? Does anyone need clarification? No? Great, so by now you've received, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you while you were giving this beautiful spiel. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
No, so I was saying.
Everyone saw the resume.
Yes, so I'm hoping everyone did. All good. Does anyone need any clarification about SIOC?
SIOC, got it.
Great. So this is a consent item tonight. Is there any opposition to the confirmation of Victor Gonzalez to the student-initiated outreach committee? Seeing none, congratulations to Victor. Now moving along, does anyone need any clarifications regarding the campus retention committee? Great, so is there any opposition to the appointment of Rafael Garibay to the campus retention committee? Great, congratulations to Rafael. Before we move on, I do have a question, and I really hope that, again, I didn't know Kyle was going to come in tonight. I hope you all took his comment seriously and then took it as showed good faith. I would just be curious as to how many of these students are actually in your office and how many aren't. Just for his sake, so I can report back to him too.
So historically, what I was going to talk about, I'm glad I have.
Yeah.
The academic senate was like advocated on behalf of these certain appointments. So historically, the academic senate was always the body of the AAC. So they would be people from student, they don't deal with funding, they don't have stipends. So I was talking to Taylor about the people that we had. There weren't that many applications to the thing from outside our office in general. But we have about 4 that work within the office.
Okay.
And so last year and the year before, they also had 4 representatives, or 4 to 5 from the AAC that were working. And they don't deal with funding with the AAC office at all. They don't deal with stipends. So I'm not these positions are given to students that are getting money for stipends or anything like that. It's just to better connect the office with the things that they're working on. But for the most part, yeah, there's always been some representatives from the office in these meetings too.
So it's 4 that are from within your office?
Yeah.
So, yes.
I was just like to comment, you appointed some really phenomenal people. So, but also I just think in future records, we definitely spread the opportunity around.
It's difficult, and I'm sure everyone that has a thing, it's week 6, and a lot of these committees are either about to end their meetings for the quarter, or have them. A lot of them need student input to be functioning, and they vote by email outside of the meetings. So there's no voting within the meeting either. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with any following council agreeing to whatever you feel is necessary. But the AAC has always historically had representatives from their office serve on appointments. Yeah.
I just want to make one comment, hopefully on Kyle's behalf. This is not at all directed at you, but more directed at the entire council. I mean, I think from the beginning of the year, from the beginning of the appointments, we all made a concerted effort to ensure that we were providing opportunities for as many students from as many pockets of campus. There were some appointments that we voted down because we felt that didn't come from a different enough pocket of campus. Moving forward, I hope we keep this in mind and don't hold different candidates to different standards. Any questions about that? Yeah.
I just need a comment on behalf of ARC about why.
So let's do that when we get to the actual appointments that meet ARC. So just so we can get through these. But yes, you will have time to do that for sure. So moving along, we have Alexandria Davis for the Academic Freedom Committee. This is a consent item as well. Any questions about what the Academic Freedom Committee is? So can maybe someone pull up the bylaws so that we can read that so everyone knows what we're voting on, because there is a question. We shouldn't just blindly do that.
Oh, yeah, the academic freedom committee, they kind of work on different things about syllabus reform. They work on things with any type of text that the professor would put out. They work on any type of text that the student would grapple with. So essays, things like that, regulating plagiarism type things, where does that line get drawn? That's what the committee
Someone can just pull it just for the sake of the rest of the appointments.
It's on senate.ucla.edu. You can go on all the committees.
Thank you for whoever took care
The academic freedom committee studies and concerning any conditions within or without the university, which in its judgment may affect academic freedom. Academic freedom is freedom from orders where Section 8 as suppressing committees that are independence, free investigation, and the required communication by the academic faculty, librarians, students, and campus.
So, with that being read now, is there any opposition to the appointment of Alexandria Davis to the Academic Freedom Committee?
There will be 4 student representatives, 2 from private and 2 from undergrad, are nominated by GSA.
Yes.
This is more so like a comment for Libby. I don't know if you can speak louder. Okay. Yeah.
I think she also just sent out the link to, if anybody wants to look that up, we can follow up afterwards. But again, we're going around a second time. Any opposition to this appointment? Congratulations to Alexandria. Moving along, Lucy Hendricks to the Academic Freedom Committee. Is there any opposition to her appointment? Seeing none, this appointment is confirmed. Congratulations to Lucy. Are there any questions about the committee continuing and community education? Do you have the description up that you can just read for those who don't? It's up on the screen too. Okay. Nicole, do you mind reading it? It's already up there. That's okay.
Which one? The committee chart?
Yes.
The mission of the Committee on Continuing and Community Education, CCCE, is to advocate programs in continuing and community education that meet the public's needs, that will raise UCLA's reputation for academic excellence, that promote innovative methods of instruction and support the mission of the university. The CCCE focuses on educational issues and academic programs for non-matriculated students who are not registered or enrolled in undergraduate or graduate degree programs. It considers the educational, organizational, technological, legal, and economic dimensions of continuing and community education at UCLA, seeking to advance the university's contribution to society and its position as a leading research institution.
Thank you, Nicole. So is there any opposition to the appointment of Annie Reed to the Continuing and Community Education Committee? Seeing none, congratulations to Annie. Our next committee is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Do we need a description to that for that? If everyone has it on audio, we can read it out loud, but it's fine. Okay, so our appointment to that committee, our first one is Min Tran. Is there any opposition to her appointment to this committee? Seeing none, congratulations to Min. Her appointment has been confirmed. Moving along to Esmeralda Garcia to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Is there any opposition to her appointment? Seeing none, Esmeralda is confirmed. We are now moving on to the Executive Board. We have Div up for appointment to the Executive Board. Does anyone need a
Just clarification, the academic resolution always sits on the executive board. It's just it's like a critical thing that we have to get everybody to, but I've been sitting on this since
And does anyone need a clarification about the Executive Board? It seems kind of short, Nicole. I'm sorry, I keep pointing to
The Executive Board coordinates and reviews actions and proposals from Senate committees and administration, consults with and advises the divisional chair on all matters, including issues brought to attention from outside the Senate or administration's formal structures, acts on all matters except legislation in the name of the Los Angeles Division at times when the Legislative Assembly cannot readily be conceived or when haste is required.
Okay, thank you. So is there any opposition to this appointment?
There's no question.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, how did you decide which appointees to appoint yourself versus other people?
So the appointments that I appoint, okay, so with executive board, it's always we appoint the person. With the other ones, they were open slots that no one appointed, so we need to have student representative, so I just look at the thing, we have one more. So we need to have student voice come in because they're meeting like this week, and if they don't have a student voice, it's not that they're normal, but it's just not good, and like, if you don't have someone there, like, it goes under, so, you know what I mean? So that's why I like for these last two, there's need for those two, because no one applies to library and community or library and library communication, no one applies to information or instructional technology. So those are still open, the upcoming applications still open for those two.
Temporary.
At this point, if you're like a placeholder, then what would be like the process of appointing someone else if the student were to apply?
We remove me and then we put the person.
So there's like a council process for that?
Yeah.
How long meetings go?
It's like, it's 3 extra ones, because like I'm also the GE governance one we're gonna apply. It's like, no one applied to that one either, so we're gonna like do that one next, and then we have 2 more from the diversity requirement that we need to do, but I have a better person for those. But yeah, it's, I think it's like 4 extra things that I have to do. But it's fine, I mean, we'll find some, probably next quarter.
So proceeding with item F, we have Dinesh Sharma up for the Executive Board. Is there any opposition to this appointment? Seeing none, this appointment has been approved. Moving along, we have the Faculty Welfare Committee. Would anyone like to read the description?
I can just read it. Okay, thank you. The principal charge of the faculty welfare committee is to advise the division and confer with administrative agencies on all matters involving the economic welfare of the faculty, including but not limited to the level of salaries, salary determination methodology, benefits, insurance, retirement, housing, and conditions of employment.
So up for this appointment, and I want to apologize in advance if I pronounce any of the names wrong, please correct me if you don't know. So we become Stephanie Muse now to the Faculty Welfare Committee. Is there any opposition to her appointment? Seeing none, this appointment has been approved. Moving along to the Intercollegiate Athletics Committee. Anything else you want to do athletics?
The Committee on Intercollegiate Athletics major responsibility involves reviewing policies and practice of the UCLA Athletics Department as they affect the academic progress and performance of student athletes. IAC also engages broader issues regarding the relation of the athletics program to the overall academic mission of the university. IAC advises the administration and athletics departments and maintains as a liaison with equivalent committees at other universities on matters of policy.
So we have Sierra Bronkhorst up for this appointment. I'm just curious, is she an student
She
athlete?
is the captain of the rowing team. This is actually the first time that we have a NCAA athlete as our acting. So she's right now, just like to speak on her behalf, she's working on a painting series for like the people in athletics. So she's like getting money recognition for like canvases that people can paint. So that means
Good. Is there any opposition to Sierra's appointment to intercollegiate athletics? Seeing none, this appointment has been approved. Moving along to Ju Yang, yes.
This person actually just recently said that they can't. So I guess like, I don't know what we would do Yeah, okay, if we can start that. Then I don't know how to do that.
So let's just strike it.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving along, we have Sonia Ingegaard to the research committee. Is there any opposite, or do you want to read the research?
Yeah.
It is the responsibility of the Council on Research to consult regularly with vice chancellors for research and with various directors within the research administration as required, to advise on issues pertinent to the faculty research mission. It is the mandate of the COR to advise the chancellor and inform the division concerning a faculty perspective on issues pertaining to the research mission at UCLA and the University of California, the campus budgetary needs to support of research and support of research infrastructures, policy, and strategy regarding the pursuit and acceptance of such support. C, promotion and coordination of the multidisciplinary research and collaborative work among faculty, and D, policies governing acceptance of extramural funding, COR meets once a month during the academic year.
Thank you, Nicole. Is there any opposition to Sonia's appointment to the Council on Research? Seeing none, this appointment is approved. Moving along, we have Claire Marchand to the Legislative Assembly.
The Legislative Assembly is empowered to act in all matters for the Los Angeles Division, subject to provisions of divisional bylaws. Members of the Assembly approve all changes to the Senate bylaws and regulations, ratify states for each of the Senate standing committees as recommended by the Committee on Committees, review and approve annual reports of each standing committees, and consider campus-wide issues. Proposals having a wide effect on the faculty life are always brought before the Legislative Assembly. For example, changes in faculty disciplinary procedures, a mentoring plan for assistant professors, and revisions to general education assembly members elect the 6 at-large members of the Senate's executive board, choosing 3 each spring quarter. The Legislative Assembly meets 4 times a year
in the months of November, February, April, and June.
Great, thank you. Any opposition to Claire's appointment to Legislative Assembly? Seeing none, this appointment is approved. Moving along, we have Kosi Okuli to the Legislative Assembly. Is there any opposition to Kosi's appointment? Seeing none, this appointment is also approved. Moving along, we have Kevin Tran for the Legislative Assembly. Any opposition to Kevin's appointment? Seeing none, this appointment is also approved. Moving along to the Planning and Budget Committee.
CPB's charge is to make recommendations based on established Senate policy to the Chancellor and Senate agencies concerning the allocation of educational resources, academic priorities, and the planning and budgetary process, as well as the formulation of Senate view on the campus budget and each major campus space use and building project. CPB discusses with the Executive Vice Chancellor and Vice Chancellor for Finance the current strategic and budget issues. CPB maintains an active relationship with the statewide University Council on Planning and Budget through its UCPB representative.
So any opposition to Trent Nettles' appointment to the Planning and Budget Committee?
This isn't an objection, I do have a question. So I heard that Trent was one where is your appointment structure, and so how did you navigate deciding how that?
So Trent is also a rotational appointment, so it's a ongoing basis of application. So if no one can fulfill it by the end of the quarter, then we'll have to like remove it. If someone applies, do you know what I mean? So that's why he's there too. It's like I can take 5 meetings or 5 meetings on it, but I just like.
Are there any more? Other than that, like, are just gonna be?
I think just that. And then, yes. But yeah, if, that's the thing, like, we can't, like, meet these boards on student represented, because, like, if we do, they don't have the student voice on there. So, like, yeah. That's the thing with the academic side, like, some of the different things, I guess, like, have student representation already from the year before, but with the academic side, it gets removed every year. So, like, it's like a clean slate, and it's in 6 weeks, so, like, I had to, like, get people on it. Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to like clarify, because you mentioned there was 4 from office, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like 6.
Or clarification?
It's just like, that, for some reason.
Well, Trent doesn't count, because, like, he's rotational, I'm also rotational.
I was so,
Or Trent?
no, I was,
So, it's
so like 5.
So, like, 5.
Would you mind
Yeah.
clarifying which ones are from your office, just for sake of transparency?
Alexander Davis. Two, 3, Kosi. 4, Kevin. Kevin's rotational. So don't count.
So Kevin's also
Kevin's also rotational. And then Trent's rotational, so don't count Trent. Jared is from our office, and then Alex is from our office. Alex is there. So how many is that?
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's still on. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from your office, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are technically or rotational.
I thought, well, 5 communities.
Included.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's 5 because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Or no, sorry, excuse me. You're on executive board, so that you're
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's 4 that are still rotational and 4 that are going in your office.
And like, like, if you all don't agree with like the way that we're going about the rotational system, like, it's something it's like difficult because like we need student representation on it. Like, it really isn't a conflict of interest having people from an office. Like, if they're not giving a stipend, we're not like, it's like, because like Chloe had an appointment from her office as well, like with the legislative assembly. It's not a conflict for the legislative.
That's what you're going to UCSA.
Yeah, you're going to UCSA as well. And like in the past, there's been like appointments from different offices as well. So like if it's oh yeah.
No, we finished.
Oh, if it's for like, if that's like meant to be after leaving the office, I feel.
So the USAC is required to be in the meeting office, so my concern is more so that specific to Trent, if he's actually an instructor, he has a position that looks like he has an interest in another student last year, then how would you manage that conflict of interest? Or
Oh,
do
he
you have
doesn't
a-
have an interest in it. It's like a rotational, you know, you have to participate in it. That can be like 5 meetings. So like, you know, it's like, so like, I mean, I agree with whatever you all feel. But like, I mean, the thing is with like, student reps, it's like hard, and people aren't getting paid, they're literally just sitting in a meeting for 4 hours voting, like, if any of you want to, like, please do it, but like, we don't have people applying to appointments very much, and like, it's week 6, and we have to have all these, like, student seats, like, empty for that long.
So maybe if the application's still open, we can all commit to doing some extra outreach. Having so many appointments is one that's difficult to follow. Maybe we can all, if you can send us the links to those applications
To the ones that are
together.
open and.
Yeah, we can just help fulfill those too. Yeah.
I guess I just felt that we couldn't apply because we're like on this council.
So not us, I'm saying that we can send it to our networks and other students who can like.
So we can't really be anything other than this.
You could apply if you want, like, there's nothing that's a conflict of interest, like, I talked to Stephanie about it too, and she was saying that nothing, because I'm not giving them a stipend, like, they're not getting paid for it, and they're not doing funding that is student fees either, that they're not really any conflict of interest in the way that, like, people are.
Clarification. So is it just frowned upon to have internal office members on other committees, or is it in our bylaws? Because I know our bylaws, like, we can't serve in like BOD or anything else.
No.
We're restricted.
Academic sense is very separate from all that. There's nothing that in the bylaws that says that anyone can be from an office. There's nothing that says that. It's strictly just because no one applied for those positions. So, yeah, I mean, like next quarter, we're doing like a whole, like, gathering people together, but like, because there's no stipends, because there's no funding, like, Deb was like, it's fine, people don't feel about it.
So, yeah, just to clarify, there's nothing in the bylaws, and there's no, I don't think it's a conflict of interest that is the concern. I think it's more so getting representation from different parts of campus that is the concern, right? Because everyone's coming from USAC or from within an office, they may be coming from a certain perspective, and we're not reaching other perspectives in our
That's why we stressed in the beginning of the year, you guys.
Chloe, you?
Yeah, if I could just talk to Justice, my concern wasn't that the student's office sitting on the Senate, I think that's fine, and actually using those office members specific to the appointment structure, because other applications, it's easy for a council position, and
Yeah, and like again, the history of the office was like, they advocated for all these seats. So like when the academic senate was formed, it was literally people from the academic affairs office, and these committees were the ones that were in the academic affairs office. So they were the ones that were fighting on these different boards and then coming together, creating that commission. So like, that's the way that the commission has been operating, and like, it's like, I don't know if that like makes sense to everyone, but like, the academic senate is no conflict of interest between the office in USAC and like the people sitting on advisory boards.
It's good with the bylaws.
What?
It's good with the bylaws.
Yeah, I mean, like, nothing says in the bylaws that any appointment, I think, only goes in judicial court. You can't be sitting on USAC and have it appointed, but,
Okay, so continuing along, we are at item L. Is there any opposition to Trent's appointment to the Planning and Budget Committee? Seeing none, this motion is approved and the appointment is confirmed. We have Jared Kine to the Planning and Budget Committee. Any opposition? So, question, I know Jared's one of your chiefs of staff. Is that also rotational or is
it's
that
not,
intentional?
it's actually like intentional.
Okay.
Planning and budget's super important to student life in general, and having him like be a liaison between the office of like something that I don't know anything about, which is financial. No one applied for that appointment, and he did. So, I mean, like, it's a timeline, and like, we have to be able to like, meet the student representation. It's difficult, but it's also week 6. If council feels as though that you would want me to like look for more people and then sit on this board, I'm down. That would be sitting on 5 boards then. But, that's just like up to y'all. Like, I mean, Ariel, a lot of people, like, and a lot of people that have had appointments have had difficulty filling them, and like, with these specific ones, they don't involve a conflict of interest with me sitting on them, so I'm happy if you want me to sit on them, but I think Jared, like, fits the community well. And as Chloe said, it's easier for the office to streamline communication between these different advisory boards and getting the office's charge complete overall. And since there's nothing in the bylaws that says otherwise, that's why I feel like they are.
So any opposition to Jared's appointment to the Planning and Budget Committee? Seeing none, this appointment is confirmed. We now have the Teaching Committee. The Committee on Teaching.
The Committee on Teaching is responsible for the selection of the Distinguished Teaching Awards and the advising of the division and departments with regards to policy that will enlarge possibilities for distinguished teaching and improve the quality of instruction, including methods of evaluation of teaching.
So any opposition to Alex Mendoza's appointment to the Committee on Teaching?
One of the inquiry, not opposition. Do these committees, they just report back to you, Divya?
No, they report back to
The city.
no. So what happens is at the end of the quarter, the academic commission puts on a town hall. Like it's been a historic thing that they do, so like week 10 is like an appointments town hall. It's like an infographic that's like released to everybody. We're probably doing an infographic because no one should watch the town hall. They don't report to us, they have like a minutes thing and then it's in the Senate. So like if you go on the webpage, there's like a connection to all the minutes there. So that's who they report to. They actually report to their committee head if they're going to vote. We send them an email and then we go through that email. The only thing that we do is we collect like the information that's sent to me. Okay. So they don't make the report to me. It's kind of just like they're a separate entity.
Okay.
But just like with any company, they don't like strictly report to the person that's appointing them. Like junior support won't go with REO. So
Yeah.
It's just kind of like it's independent.
I'm just saying, also track the progress, there's so many committees.
Yeah, like 25. Yeah, and that's the thing, like going back to what Chloe said, like it's like easier for the office in general to make sure that those things are like happening. But yeah, since we have this long people, it's like been open for 6 weeks now, and like this is like the pot that I'm dealt with. Like, again, I don't agree with anything that anyone has to say about it, whatever. But,
I just need you on the record saying that there were students that we all literally voted down because of their affiliations, and we are appointing students within an office. And I think if they're the most qualified, that's great, but I need you all to take responsibility for that too. Because we are having a really hard time finding qualified candidates for positions because all of you decided that their affiliation somehow made them biased. And that is not appropriate at all, and I really want you all to take that into consideration tonight. It's extremely inappropriate. I think that I trust your judgment if you think these are the right students for these positions, amazing, but it really hurts me that we deny students a position because they were affiliated with the community on this campus, and other appointments are not held to that standard. So I just want to make sure that's on the record.
I think that that's like a valid point too. The only difference is that the office isn't really like community. Moreover, it's like it works separately from a lot of different entities.
In your office, you all subscribe to a certain set of ideals, and I think that, in my opinion, that's what.
I don't think that's what. Like, I think it's different. Like a political party has affiliated to a set of ideals. Like in an office, like we have a bunch of different people affiliating with a bunch of different ideas. Like that's, I guess, the difference. But I feel you on the like.
We're not asking every other appointment what their affiliation was, and every single one of my appointments were asked. And I don't recognize that. So moving along, we're at item N. We have Alex Mendoza for the Committee on Teaching, Thinking, and Full Freedom District. Is there any opposition to Alex's appointment tonight? Seeing none, this appointment is approved. Moving along to the Committee on Instruction and Technology.
The Committee on Instruction and Technology is charged with representing Senate and faculty interests in online education, as well as all other potential issues surrounding instructional technology. The overarching duty of CIT is to ensure that adaptation of online course formats or additional means of instructional technology serve to enhance UCLA's programs and maintain academic quality of the university's instructional programs. This is to be an independent committee of the Academic Senate, not a subcommittee of any other committee or council currently existing as part of the Academic Senate. CIT maintains an active relationship with the statewide University Committee on Academic Computing and Communications through its USAC representative.
Is there any opposition to Divya Sharma to the Instruction and Technology Committee? Seeing none, this appointment is confirmed. Congratulations. Moving along to the Library and Scholarly Communication Committee, or Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication.
The Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication takes as its principal obligation to reflect and articulate the views of UCLA faculty members concerning the role of the university library in the acquisition, storage, and provision of scholarly materials. COLASC maintains an active relationship with the statewide University Committee on Library and Scholarly Communications through its UCOLASC representative.
Is there any opposition to the appointment of Divya Sharma to the Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication?
Okay, agree once more, not opposition. So these placeholder positions that you're filling, the turnaround, you're just waiting for like one application.
Like, we'll obviously have to like interview them.
Yeah.
Like, if they're about it. Usually with academic things, you don't, people are doing it because they want to do library and scholarly tech. Like, I have people that I was like, would you be interested in like this appointment? And they're like not, don't. So I was like, is either leaving this empty or like being able to vote on it. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's difficult because like,
I wonder.
Just
I'm just thinking of, one last one. I'm thinking of like, we all have interns that work in our offices if they're particularly interested in.
I don't have to
I'm just saying, all of our offices, like, maybe I'm mentioning our interns to be.
The appointment application's been open since July. So, since June, actually, yeah. June. So like, I've been waiting.
So, Zara, just out of curiosity, so like for these positions that are currently placeholder positions, have you like thought about any ways to sort of like change your outreach efforts to see if
We're doing, I mean, like, Facebook, we linked it to all the departments, right? So like saying, oh yeah, like you link it with all the departments twice. And then you do Facebook, you do a Facebook event, we're having an infographic be on all the electronic displays and tablet too. So like that, we reached out to like Dashi for our international things. I talked to my sole advisor, Melissa, and she said reach out to clubs and organizations and try and see if anyone within some of the educational reports would be down. Some of them are, and like they're reflected, but yeah, we're trying, but like.
one other way would be like maybe for like programming that your office has associated with those things, like if there are attendees to those programs, you can also like be advertising those opportunities.
Today we took emails of people down at our counseling event, so then we're gonna send them like the application.
I just don't want there to be a point where like these placeholder positions are sort of like forgotten and then like those are pretty impressive.
The thing is like we have them still a thing. Like it's still an open application, like it's still on there and like we're just waiting. Like we put all our stuff out, like I'm fine with you all like not putting me on these boards, like I'm fine. The only thing is like the repercussion of not having a student voice on a board that was created for students to have voice, or like an administrative board for a student position to be on there. Like, I'm fine with any of the changes that council has or like how they feel about any of them. I felt like I needed to take responsibility for the lack of people that applied for all this, and was like, okay, well, this was the reason why like AAC exists. Like I should probably like put myself on these boards so I can vote on them. Because like no one has applied for these positions, but I'm down to leave them empty. But yeah, that's just my take on it. Last council, if we were gonna approve it, I was gonna say the same thing. But since we didn't get to that one, but yeah, just like it's still open. I'll like send it out to all of you. Send it out to all of you like twice now. And it's been on the USAC page. But yeah.
So moving along, is there any opposition to the appointment of Divya Sharma to the Committee on Library and Scholarly Communication? Seeing none, this appointment is confirmed. We're now moving along to the action items for tonight. As is the case with all other action items, we're looking at all of you will have an opportunity to do a 1-minute presentation introduction, followed by 5 minutes question and answer with council, followed by a 1-minute conclusion. When you get to 10 seconds or around 10 seconds left for your introduction and conclusion, I'll put it out to the table. You'll have to wrap your last 1 minute. So our first appointment for tonight is Brad Vanguard to the Undergraduate Council. Can we give a quick description of what the Undergraduate Council is?
Yeah, the Undergraduate Council makes policy for undergraduate education at UCLA, recommends to Legislative Assembly undergraduate programs leading to new degrees, authorizes, supervises, and regulates all undergraduate courses and programs of instruction and preparatory education, periodically reviews and evaluates all undergraduate programs of study and non-programs of preparatory education in conjunction with the Graduate Council, and sets standards for honors and recommends procedures for awards of undergraduate scholarships.
Thank you, Nicole.
I was just waiting for his point. Just like before. For information on undergraduate course or program approval, oh yeah, then I was
Thank you so much for reading it. So Brad, just to reconfirm, you have 1 minute to do introduction, but now we'll 10 seconds left, 5 minutes to then provide a conclusion. Moving on, 5 minutes to Brad's first slide.
Hello everyone, my name is Brad Vanguard. I'm a 4th year political science major at Education Studies. I had the great privilege of serving this committee last year. It was a tremendous learning experience. I feel that my involvement in a variety of pockets of campus bring a lot of important information to the committee. Fortunately, we also have a lot of faculty representatives on the committee that really do care about student welfare, and they are trying to make this campus better. So it's a pleasure to work with them. That's definitely surprised me. I think it's a surprise to a lot of students. Last year, we worked on issues such as science general education requirements. We were looking to expanding online education and make classes more accessible. We improved a variety of majors, minors, and concentrations. And we're going today.
Thank you so much. We're now going to move to 5 minutes of question and answer with the council, beginning now. Are there any questions for Brad? Nicole.
what's sort of the process of like implementing a new major or minor? Like, how does that go down?
So we actually only get it at the later stage once it's actually gone through the process. For us, we literally just kind of check on yes or no. So there's a I think it goes through a variety of different academic committees, and then once it gets to us, we actually becomes like an minor major.
Dennis, are you going to do this?
Since you already sat on the committee before, do you have any goals or concrete goals that you want to see next year?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is really making sure they expand online education, making sure that students have an opportunity to graduate in a timely manner. As we all know, the cost of tuition here in UCLA is pretty expensive and also on the rise, so expanding those opportunities also for students with disabilities, students who may be commuters, online education that make education more accessible. Obviously, the Center has a lot of concerns regarding academic integrity, which we see is also higher in online courses, so they make sure they kind of this issue. That's my main priority first, make sure we do that in a thoughtful, inclusive, and accessible manner.
So we have Justin and then Chloe and then Aaron.
You mentioned you're involved in other things like you're on those.
Justin, can you speak up?
Yes, you mentioned that you're involved in other entities and that you're on those to incorporate these entities. So what are those and how will you do that?
Yeah, so some of my main involvements include the Office of Equity Diversity and Student Advisory Board. I think that position really brings a lot of insights, especially when we do program reviews. One of the main things that we're looking at in these program reviews is how diverse is the faculty. What is the campus climate like for students in those academic programs? How can we improve on some of those things? We also got a lot of data last year regarding discrepancies between gender, males and females in a variety of courses, underrepresented minorities versus non-underrepresented minorities, Pell Grant recipients versus non-Pell Grant recipients. So I think my experience there brings a lot of value. This year I'm also serving as a resident assistant on the Hill, so I actually have the opportunity to meet with more freshmen and sophomore that will provide a valuable perspective that I didn't have last year. I'm still working for the Office of the Dean of Students as well as state government relations, so I think both of those kind of provide some interesting perspectives as well to this position.
So to my understanding, there's not all of the kids who has experience in military for this position, and so how would you pass on your understanding in terms of institutional knowledge and work together with other student representatives to advocate on student perspectives?
Well, I think really the main thing is to kind of make sure they feel comfortable with this, make sure they understand what the day-to-day looks like for those things, and make sure they have a good system for their own taking. Because I think one of the important things is that we all do bring different perspectives to the committee. Last year, unfortunately, we didn't have consistent attendance, so I really want to emphasize to the other point is how important attendance is, how important making sure there are student faces there. That is because, like, a lot of times the faculty would ask us kind of our own experiences, and unfortunately, last year we had a lot of students who were not able to attend for a variety of reasons, and all in similar academic programs. So we were really relying on our connections there. So it's really emphasizing the importance of making sure that students are.
So since this is like a majority non-student council, how do you plan to make sure that students are aware of what's going on with the?
Yeah, I mean, so last year what I did was I would take notes I never seen meeting I attended. I think I only missed 2 or 3 last year. Person just came up, but I think the AAC's town halls are a good first step. Because I'm going to push ahead to make sure students are attending those, and maybe have them look more frequently. As I said, typically they were once a quarter or once a month, or I think they were just once a quarter last year. So maybe try to find ways to expand that, try to find ways to bring it to different pockets of campus, whether it be posted on South Campus, posted North Campus, posted in Kirkhoff, maybe this room, posted on the Hill. Really make sure that we're using students in different pockets so we can make that information accessible. Definitely relying on the rest of this council to kind of make sure that students are being plugged into those opportunities to hear what we're talking about and also make the voices heard.
Got about 40 seconds left. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing them, that's the conclusion of our 5-minute Q&A. So I will now put up an opportunity to do 1-minute conclusion and the gavel will be back.
I have nothing further to say, but I just want to say that, again, thank you for having me. If you have any concerns about issues to be brought forward to the council, I would love to kind of make sure that those are great. If you have friends who are interested in applying to these positions as well, we'd be more than happy to share my experience to kind of, obviously each community is a little different, to kind of get them some to it as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Brad, at this point, we're going to move to discussion. You're more than welcome to stay in the room. You're also more than welcome to step out, whatever you want to do. Okay, great. So in order to proceed with discussion, we are going to need a motion and a second. So is there a motion to approve the appointment of Brad Vanguard to the undergraduate council? Yes, Karen.
I motion to approve Brad Vanguard to the undergraduate council.
Is there a second? So I'll probably stand up first. Now, as is our practice, is there any recommendation from ARC? Is there a reason why ARC didn't interview, considering that these appointments were on the agenda last week?
Yes, we did not meet we set up the meeting yesterday from 5 to 6.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, I'll personally apologize that I had something come up, and all 3 of us were like, oh, we can all make it, and all 3 of us thought that's enough. Which is miscommunication entirely on our part. We're not, like, we didn't do our job, and I take full responsibility for that.
I'll jump in too as well, and just speak for myself. I personally didn't feel comfortable participating in them for personal reasons that I will not go into now. But yeah, I can sit that one out. Didn't expect it to be an issue. I thought would still be formed without me. That did not happen.
So there's no recommendation from the ARC. There is a motion and a second on the table. We can now move into discussion. Is there any discussion regarding this appointment? Yeah,
I think Brad clearly demonstrated knowledge about what the undergraduate council does, and I think part of that comes from him being on the committee, but I also think that unlike a lot of people who serve in a particular position to get reappointed, he demonstrated that he still wants this and still wants to improve based off of what we learned from last year.
any discussion?
He's actually one of our only returners on the whole academic senate, so having him a position of the undergraduate counselor is super important because he's able to make sure that the other three, they're younger, get like the ability to like, understand the counselor, like navigate it. Just because it is difficult. I've sat there before there were appointments to it in the summer, and it's very difficult to understand the jargon of like creating a major and then even just like changing the name of the major. But I remember texting Brad, he knows what's happening. But for the most part, I think that's a good addition to a very new group of students entering the
I'll just simply add that comes, his resume comes from various parts of campus, and he's involved in many entities, so I think he'll have a lot of opinions coming his way.
Any other discussion? I think this has been said before, but I think Chloe, your question was like particularly important, right? Because there's 3 appointments to this committee, and when you have a returner, like someone who's committed to training and incoming students is so valuable, and we got that also with Emily to the CS Committee Fund, so thank you for bringing that up. Any other discussion about this appointment? Seeing none, there is a motion on the table and a second, so we'll move ahead with this vote, beginning with IDP.
Yes.
EDP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1.
Yes.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yes.
CSC.
Yes.
CAC.
Abstain.
Facilities.
Yes.
FSC.
Yes.
SWC. TSR.
Yes.
By a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 0 to 1. Congratulations. I'm glad you're moving along with the next appointment to the undergraduate council, we have Rob Katanda. Thank you so much for joining us. So Rob, like Brad, you'll have 1 minute to introduce yourself. I'll get to the gals this table. We've got about 10 seconds left, and then we'll move into Q&A. Give me 1 second to set up the timer. Please begin when you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Rob Katanda. I'm a 3rd-year microbiology student. I'm also an international student in the Philippines. I'm from Manila. I was involved with Sama Filipino previously in my 2nd year. I was also involved with some other organizations and worked closely with Projects House under CPO, the Campus Retention Committee, and to a lesser extent, the Student-Initiated Outreach Committee. I am here. I applied to the undergraduate council because I wanted to be a voice for my community and other communities on the margin. I wanted to speak out particularly about class accessibility and prioritization when it comes to enrollment, when it comes to planning for classes, etc. And yeah, thank you.
So we're now going to move into 5 minutes of question and answer, beginning now. Are there any questions for Rob? Justin.
You mentioned class accessibility. What would be a solution that you could
My main issue with accessibility right now to classes, at least, is online accessibility that is broadcast, particularly for commuter students or students who live far away. I feel like it's ignorant, it's not cognizant of a lot of issues. Also, the student, opposite students with disabilities, don't often utilize their resources. Personally, I know a lot of people who are registered with the OSCs, but don't utilize their resources. And I feel like that while it is their choice, it's also an issue that can be addressed for us. In terms of solutions, my most concrete goal is to try and get more classes broadcasted. It's issue that's personal for me because I rely on broadcast heavily. I know a lot of people in my community also rely on broadcast heavily because a lot of different commuter students, a lot of different transfer students live far from campus. Yeah. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay, fair enough.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions?
I get told just
Yeah.
So as I'm sure you know, creating institutional change can often take quite some time. And so how do you plan on pushing for changes that you want from the year that you're serving on council?
I feel like institutional change is a very big picture that is composed of smaller pictures, of smaller issues, and I think the best way to tackle these large issues is to tackle the root, to tackle not the big root problem, but everything that contributes to it. I'm talking about, for example, I already mentioned it earlier, but broadcasts. Like, I'm not expecting all classes to be broadcasted by the end of this year. You know? I'm trying to make concrete goals for myself that I can reach, that I know I have the resources to reach. Let's say like I get a certain percentage of classes that I want to have broadcasted. Or a focus on North Campus classes, because North Campus classes are broadcasted at a lesser rate than South Campus classes. Another thing is the retention. I also talked like earlier about accessibility, the prioritization of certain class of like, let's say athletes, region scholars in their enrollment, and I feel like that isn't cognizant of issues like retention issues. Students who are already struggling with their retention and genuinely want to do better. I feel like they should also be given priority for things like enrollment, because if they're already struggling and they can't even get to classes, how can you say like expect them to get better? And if they genuinely want to get better.
So I actually have a question too. First of all, thank you for joining us tonight. My question for you is that as one of 4 students, on the undergraduate council, it's your responsibility to serve all 30,000 undergraduates here on campus. You mentioned extensive experience within MOCPO and cultural spaces on campus, which is amazing. What will you do to ensure that students who aren't currently within your network are accessible to you and good, they can come to you if they have any issues for us?
Excellent question. First of all, thank you. I will admit that my network isn't as extensive as other people who might be sitting on the council. But coming into my 3rd year, I did make a very large effort to reach out to spaces that I've never been to before. That includes Real Life, the international student community, and I'm constantly looking for town halls, for spaces where I can make myself visible, and from where I can also learn from different communities and incorporate what they need into the voice that I'm bringing into this council, and into the voice that I'm bringing into the undergraduate council. And I feel like that's the first step, especially if you're in a space that you're not familiar with, that you're not actually a part of, is to listen and to silence your own voice without others even hearing it, so that you can incorporate it into your own in the future.
So we have about 15 seconds left. If you want to ask this final question.
So, I guess like earlier on in the meeting, that we were talking about how previously the town halls, they were pretty low in attendance. So did you have any ideas as to how to conduct those town halls to better engage students, or any other ideas on how to engage students with the decisions that are being made?
So just to clarify, you're asking me about how I will disseminate information I take from the council to students. I would have to agree that I don't think town halls are the best idea. I have been part of organizations that organize town halls before, and sure, they have been very low in attendance. I feel that the quickest way to reach the most number of people would be online, particularly using email rosters of organizations. And in terms of disseminating information, while yes, I do agree that town halls are still essential because they're meeting the general membership or the general student body, to tackle the leadership of organizations, the leadership of communities, and from there, give them what they need, give them the information, and allow them to disseminate it to their general membership, or their general. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
So thank you so much. At the end of our Q&A session tonight, we'll have 1 minute to conclusion. Very good.
First of all, thank you for giving me your time. I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. I already mentioned it before, but like the issues I'm trying to tackle really are issues that affect students on the margin, affect students who are not visible, and my number 1 priority applying to this council is to bring voice for those students who are having the most difficulty with having to.
Thank you. So this time we're going to do deliberation. You're more than welcome to stay in the room or step out, whatever you want. So in order to move forward, we will need a motion and a second. So is there a motion to approve Rob Batonga to the undergraduate council? Yes. Can you just articulate it?
I motion to approve Rob Batonga to the undergraduate council.
Great. Is there a second? Thank you, Zara. We'll now move into deliberation, and I'm assuming there's no recommendation from ARC. Okay. So any discussion? Yes.
Is ARC, really quick, we don't need to discuss this, but does ARC rotate every single quarter?
Any discussion regarding this equipment? Yes, but
I just want to say that I really appreciate you bringing up the perspectives of commuter students and international students, and that's a voice I traditionally not seen in the USAC space, so I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Justin?
I was kind of also talking about the longevity of class accessibility, because I'm sure that's an issue that we either have experienced ourselves or know people that have experienced that. I definitely think that he's motivated, he applied to this position, so I think he's motivated to find the right networks and the right resources to get that off the everyone. Okay, so.
Any other discussion? I will say also that I think all of us, this campus of 30,000 students, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. We come to move into our silos in our communities, and I really appreciated the way Rob answered my question. I think it's a difficult one, and one that we should continue to pose to all students, right, to push beyond our silos. And I really appreciated the way that he answered it with recognizing, hey, like, I'm human too, and we all have our limitations, but really making an effort to be expand beyond that. So, yeah.
I wanted to say that I appreciate Rob being critical of the town hall. So as you can see, these people aren't one-track minds at all. They're critical of the office that they're getting appointed by, and they're not afraid to say that the town hall is not the way to go. And I think that speaks to a lot of these appointments in general. They're really shedding, like, we don't, like, he's not even trying to see that. We aren't appointing people that are trying to agree with everything that I say or someone in AAC says. We're trying to appoint people that have a different perspective on campus that can accumulate in those 4 people and bring a diverse idea of what the undergraduate council should be. So.
Yeah, I also really appreciate his point about institutional change, because I think that can teach me a lot.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second on the table, so we'll move into a vote, beginning with IVP.
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Genrep 1?
Yes.
Genrep 2?
Yes.
Genrep 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yep.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Abstain.
Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SWC? And TSF. Therefore, by a vote of 11 to 0 to 1, this motion passes. Congratulations on being appointed to the Our next appointment for tonight is Lori Label. Thanks so much for joining us via video, Lori. Yes, sorry.
I just got anything, sorry.
There. Thank you for sending that out.
Can you say something really quick? Can you hear us? Hello? Sorry. Let me just message her and see.
Is it for my car?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know what my computer is, so it should be, but.
maybe we can try and disconnect it and take care of that and put the screen down and do another appointment while we're setting up time. Thank you so much, Jessica. So we're gonna move on to our next appointment, the undergraduate council, Alexandria Davis. Yeah, so Alexandria, just like the other appointments, you're gonna have 1 minute to do your introduction, followed by a 5-minute question and answer, followed by a 1-minute conclusion. Just a point of inquiry on my end, is here, and this is the question you did. So Alexandria is someone who's in your office and is also being to appointment?
Oh, no, she's rotational for.
Oh, she's rotational for that.
That's another, I'm just wondering why some of these comments are consent and some aren't when they're not, like what's it?
All of them? So this is the thing. 3 years ago, they decided that they wanted a couple appointments, like it was very random. And we've seen that our bylaws are very random with voting members as well. Like I've been reading it with the CRC and it's very random. These I'll try and see if we can make them like consent items and we can go by one and consent, or we can make them actions. But like the thing is there is actually no reason why they're, it's very interesting. I was talking with Deb and she said this was very new that they did. But yeah, so.
Because she's here, and I also think there's inconsistencies across offices. The SIOC appointment from the press office is an action item, and from AAC is an consent items. So we should talk about that another time, for sure. Thank you so much, Alexander. You're gonna have 1 minute to do your introduction, followed by a 5-minute Q&A. Please begin whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandria Davis. I'm a second-year political science major. Political science and sociology double major here at UCLA. I have several campus involvements on campus, including the academic affairs committee, as well as the external vice president's office, as well as applicant student union staff. I'm very interested in being a part of the undergraduate council just because I want to be a representative for underrepresented students on this campus. I believe a large reason of why I decided to get involved with the USAC space in previous years of my freshman year is because I did not see people who looked like me on the council previously, and I wanted to change that, so that's the reason I'm here on the council. Also, within my Secretary of Outreach position with the Academic Affairs Commission, I believe a lot of the things that I'm working on can work together with this council, and this presentation like this.
Thank you so much. We're now moving to 5 minutes of question and answer, beginning now. Are there any questions for Alexandria? Yeah, Joe.
What are your specific priorities or initiatives that you're going to pursue through your professional experience?
Okay, one of the specific priorities I have will include increasing academic affordability and accessibility for students. So one specific thing that I'm attempting to do with the Secretary of Outreach position, as well as this position on undergraduate council, is to increase textbook accessibility to students, because there's a difference on both sides of the campus regarding affordability for textbooks. Some departments have moved towards offering textbooks for free via library resources, and I know that because of my job via the library. However, it would be more helpful if different departments allow textbooks to be more accessible to us. So for example, in my Hamilton A class, one of our textbooks was made available on the library. We can access with the VPN, which made it helpful for commuter students, as well as students who couldn't necessarily afford the amount of textbooks that were in the class.
Any other questions? I really appreciate the fact that you brought up the fact that one of the reasons why you want to get more involved student leadership is you didn't see folks who look like you on the council. Given that there are 4 students who are being appointed to the undergraduate council, and I don't think any 4 of you look the same or different, the reality is that a lot of students are going to see students who look like them on the council. So what will you do as a student on this board to ensure that students who may not affiliate the same way you do or look the way that you do or have the opinions that you do feel like they can come to you as a representative on this UGC?
So I think a really important thing is offering the opportunity for students to speak their mind to people who are on these positions. So office hours would be a very important addition. I think that would be great. Also, being that I am involved in different spaces, especially the active student union, we do have dissemination of information about meetings and different things that are going on. So expressing are expressing explicitly any involvements or any town halls that are going on regarding the undergraduate council would be efficient to reach out to like the motherhood space and different things like that. And with the Secretary of Outreach position, I would make sure, in collaboration with the undergraduate council position, I would make sure to reach out to multiple campus agencies. Like just recently, I made contact with the Veteran Affairs on campus. We have students that are underrepresented community that needs to be addressed and more involved in this council.
Any other questions? Seeing none, that's going to be end of our Q&A period for tonight. Alexander, just 1 minute to conclusion, please begin whenever you're ready.
I was Senator Davis, and I appreciate you hearing me out and listening to me regarding this position and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Alexander, at this point, we're going to move to deliberation. We're welcome to stay in the room to step out everyone on the floor. Awesome. So in order to move along with our discussion, we will need a motion and a second. Is there a motion to approve Alexandria Davis to be undergraduate council? Chloe?
Motion to approve Alexandria Davis, the undergraduate council.
Give me a second. Justin, thank you. ARC, I'm assuming is no recommendation. Okay, so is there any discussion regarding this appointment? Okay, Justin.
I love that she has very seasoned involvement in some of the different campus entities. I think that's huge in building up student leadership and potentially taking one of our positions one day.
Any other discussion?
Okay, so Alex works in the Academic Affairs Office as Secretary of Outreach. The Academic Affairs Commission was renamed because 3 motherboard representatives started to run for the Education Policy Commission. We were renamed to the Academic Affairs Commission because retention and access needs to be part of what education policy is created to do. So inherently, she will be, with her position, interacting with those different motherboards because that is her job in the office, to reach out to the people that had created our office in the first place. So through this appointment, I really do believe that she would be able to not only commit herself to interaction with the different motherboards, but also get input from the council and bring it back to the underrepresented communities that she discussed. But not only the motherboards, but also Veteran Affairs, the transfer community, commuters. It's all under her purview within the office, and she also has and overlooks the academic departments. So humanities, social sciences, physical science, life science, all of those are within our office have one representative, so she's able to bring that information back to those representatives as well in the different colleges. So.
Also, I think my question was a difficult one too, and I appreciate the way that you answered it a lot. I do think it's important for all of us to remember though too, that our responsibility is to serve all students and not just a constituency, regardless of what historically has been the case. I think it's important that we place emphasis on those who have historically been underrepresented, but let's not also forget that there are many other students who fall outside of that purview too. And it's our responsibility to serve them all. Is there any other discussion regarding this appointment tonight? Seeing none, we'll move straight into a vote. As there's a motion and a second, we're going to begin with IVP. Yes. Great. EVP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1.
Yes.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC. CSC.
Yes.
CAC abstained. Facilities.
Yes.
FSC. SWC. TSR. Yes. Thank you. So by a vote of 11 to 0 to 1, congratulations on being appointed. Were we able to get Laura yet? Okay, so in that case, maybe we'll move along to our next appointment for tonight until we can come back to that. We have 2 students up for the Faculty Executive Committee. Does anyone have a description up to, oh, sorry, Sharon, do you know?
Isn't that a stipend position? I applied for last year. I got a draft book. I just remember because in the bylaws, I can read them for appointments because the stipend positions come out in the bylaws and say, this position is stipend, and
that's why I should go through yours. But with, let me pull it up. Okay, the following appointments to be approved by the academic affairs commission, and then they will see. But with the other appointments, they say the following one-year position receiving a stipend to be appointed by the community service commission. So they literally say that the stipend is. Do you want to say
That's just not my appointment. But that's.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to update them. But so it goes in it. It goes in it list, and then nothing in the list says anything about a stipend. Never academic appointments or anything with the ambulance in it. So the diversity, the two academic diversity, and the faculty executive committee, both of them aren't selected. All of them aren't. But I guess we can try and change that too. If you want to give some like, money to student labor, but for them, it's
Did someone get the description up for the faculty executive committee? You got it?
Oh yeah, you can just look at back to you.
Okay, it says the faculty executive committee is elected by the faculty and conducts the governance of the college. In particular, the FEC provides general oversight of the academic programs in the college, serves as an advisory board on matters concerning the welfare of students in the college, reviews and approves requirements for college majors, minors, honors programs, and other curricular requirements of the college, reviews and proposes changes to college regulations, and consults with concerned faculty members and members of the administration, and makes recommendations to the deans based on established Senate policies about the college's allocations of educational resources, academic priorities, and planning and budget issues.
Great, thank you. So our first appointment for today for the FEC is Austin Steinhardt. Austin, thanks for your patience. I know it's getting pretty late. Like the rest of the appointments, you'll have one minute student introduction, and we'll move into Q&A and presentation. Please begin whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Austin Steinhardt. I'm a third year political science and economics student from Stockton, California. I can tell a story about where my passion for this opportunity comes from. In high school, I had the opportunity to serve on a small council of administration, faculty, and parents. I work on, from a top-down administrative perspective, we're working on getting access to AP students, to students that don't normally have it. We're able to take out some barriers and some requirements to be able to expand access to students where AP and honors classes at our high school want equal access and represent the demographics of the school. And I think going forward, that kind of experience really stood my passion and experience to go forward to work on opportunities such and take a hold of opportunities such as the academic summit. I think my experiences and my way that I go about trying to work on creating change. So working from an institutional perspective in terms of looking at planning committees and looking at long-term structures to be able to create change. And I think that's the opportunity and that's the median through the perspective.
We're now moving into 1 minute question and answer with Austin beginning. Yeah. Any questions for Austin? Yeah.
So you sat on faculty that just because of an absence of it happening last week. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the procedural things that went on during the meeting and what you kind of saw as a student through a student lens?
Yeah, definitely. I think something that is important that I think was kind of a voice I was listening to the tables. I think, as you guys all know, we don't go to a small liberal arts university, we go to a large public university, and I think the relationship between student and faculty is obviously different. And I think oftentimes faculty aren't centered on making sure that their student experience is important. So I think a lot of times they don't have training in terms of student life. We're doing a presentation about all the different divisions, and they're talking about CAPS, and the professors were asking, can you explain what CAPS stands for? And so I think a real thing that's missing is understanding professors to be able to be a resource for students in terms of not only academic resources, but mental health resources, and being able to have professors and faculty understand all the things that the university has to offer to students, so that if students feel comfortable coming to professors and talk about maybe issues outside of school, professors have the resources and knowledge to be able to inform students about these different areas of campus.
So sometimes, unfortunately, like faculty don't really gain knowledge on these things because at certain times, like they don't even care to understand. So how will you ensure with this position that it is important for them to understand, like really like?
Yeah, I think this is something that's been shifting, especially on this campus. I think faculty are understanding that there is a shift that they need to be more of a figure in students' lives than just a faculty. I think you're seeing faculty becoming important in many aspects in terms of grad student letter flex. But I also think being able to expand the role of a professor to be able to have these type of resources and knowledge. I personally think from hearing my experience in the community, it wasn't necessarily that they weren't interested in learning these things, but they never had the opportunity to learn. When they were hearing the vice chancellor, student lives explain all these different resources, they were all very excited and thinking, why didn't think about this? Why didn't know about this? So I think it's less of an outreach from administration and making sure that faculty are aware of these resources and there's a lack of the need from the president who want from the faculty side.
So freedom of speech is a particularly sensitive issue, especially when it comes to faculty and their academic freedom of people. And so as a student on this committee, how would you respond if this issue were to come up to us?
Yeah, I think this is definitely issues. I think in terms of the goals of the committee and the representatives on the committee, I think the faculty and the administration has very different interests than students have. And so I think being able to figure out where those interests overlap and those conflicts is really, really important. I think on the student side, I think students obviously come from the side of student safety and considering making sure that students are safe on this campus, but I think from the faculty side, you see something maybe a little bit from the other side in terms of being able to expand and bring this new ideas to expand their field or expand their profession, I think. And so I think trying to figure out where those ideas conflict and where they're similar is going to be the most important part of the conversation.
So if there are no other questions, I like a question / request. This is a concern that's been brought up by the Consent Coalition for years and also by our office with regard to the faculty adjudication timeline issues. Given that you'll have access to faculty and academic senate in the way that the average student doesn't, would you feel comfortable working with organizations that have been talking about this issue for years to bring this issue to light within that space?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think obviously no single student can be a part of every community on campus, and so I think being able to plug in and be able to use the specialty councils or resources that have access to student communities is very, very important. And so I think if this is a concern, has been something that even with the rotating councils and some of the community councils, and obviously something that has been a prolonged issue over the years, not just with a specific group of individuals. And so I think especially those problems where maybe it just hasn't been a priority, but it's been something that's been talked about over and over, really trying to figure out a way to maybe change the conversation or approach the issue differently, because it's something that's been talked about a lot, but there's too much action, but we need a change of approach to be able to see push it in the next year.
About 20 seconds left. Are there any last questions? Seeing none, thanks for that. We're going to move into your conclusion also in 1 minute. I'll pick up when we've got about 10 seconds left.
Great. Thank you so much for asking some questions today. Looking forward to listening to this role. Awesome center. Thank you.
More than welcome to stay in there or step out whenever you're working. So in order to move forward with the discussion, we will need a motion and a second. Is there a motion to approve Austin Center to the faculty executive committee?
I motion to approve Austin Center to the faculty executive.
There's a second? Thank you, Chloe. And seeing as no recommendation, we'll move right into deliberation. Is there any discussion regarding this motion?
Yeah, I appreciate his response to all these answers. I think that's a very complicated situation when you have two professors versus students. I was looking for a solution to that problem. I didn't get a solution with response, but I understand it's a very complex issue. So I appreciated his response though.
So I had to sit on the faculty executive committee over summer and a little bit through September too. And a lot of the discussion go through the USAC. They like revamped the program, like kind of almost every meeting we talk about the USAC program. It's that program where students are able to teach like so it's very important that we have people that are understanding the student experience with student lens to make sure that faculty understand like where those intersections are, because those are students that are coming in and like teaching a course and understanding what it's like to be a professor. And Austin's gonna like already has talked about in his interview working closely with the USAC program and the people that are in it to make sure that they can get more faculty mentors and stuff. And that'll be a good type of way of bringing in student input with the faculty overall, because that program right now is under the office too, and it's getting less and less faculty every year. So.
Any other discussions during this agenda? Seeing none, there is a motion on the table and a second. We will move forward with the vote. Beginning with IDP.
Yes.
EVP. Yes. Gen Rep 1. Yes. Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yeah.
AAC.
Yes.
CSC. Yes. CAC.
The same.
Facilities.
Yes.
SSC.
Yes.
SWC.
Yes.
And TSI. Yes. Congratulations also by vote of 11 to 0, 20 to confirm. I hate to go back and forth, but is Lori ready? I don't
Yes.
want to leave her on her computer. Awesome. So I apologize here. We're going to move forward, but
Yes.
hi. Back to you. Sorry about that. Hi.
Sorry, we're being.
We kept her up top. Okay.
Let me give all the speakers to the mic.
Yeah.
And then we can ask questions.
So she's on the phone call, but her vision is there.
Oh, okay. So, hi, Lori, thanks for calling in today. We've already, so you're gonna have the opportunity to do a 1-minute introduction. When you've got about 10 seconds left, I'm just gonna clap my hands like that. Hopefully you can hear it. You can wrap up your last sentence or two. After your introduction, we'll move into a 5-minute question and answer with the council, and then we'll follow up with the conclusion. But let me just get the timer up for you. Can you hear us? Does that make sense? Yeah, great. So, timer is ready. Begin whenever you are.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you for accommodating me via Google Hangouts tonight. I'm sorry this has been kind of inconvenient. But okay. So my name is Lori Label. I'm a 4th-year sociology major. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Minoring in education studies and history. I am honored to have been appointed by Divya to serve as one of the 4 undergraduate student reps for the undergraduate council. I chose to apply for this position because of its power to truly amplify student voices and enact for faculty and administrators and enact tangible change on UCLA's campus. Some changes I hope to enact while serving as a member of UGC are minor creation, practical course requirements for select majors and minors, and diversity requirement expansion to include studying abroad in ethnic study department. While at UCLA, I've been widely involved. Done?
You're done. Yeah. Well, you'll have more time to explain your plans for the Q&A. So beginning now, we've got 5 minutes of question and answer. Beginning now, is there any questions for Lori? I'll ask. Can you finish what you were trying to say before, or I'll cut you off?
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so I was just going to say that I've been widely involved on UCLA's campus. Some things I've been involved in are Jumpstart, Unicamp, and the Justice Work Group. I've worked in research labs, I've studied abroad, and right now I'm currently in Washington, D.C. as part of the UCDC program. So through all of these experiences, I've gotten to see a lot of what UCLA has to offer, and I'm prepared to discuss these experiences, collaborate with other UCLA students in my office hours, and work to make improvements to ensure that student needs are being met. So that's what I was going to say.
Any questions?
Hi, Lauren, this is Chloe. Thanks for being on this call since I know it's almost midnight on the East Coast. Could you give us some more specific details with regards to the minor plan? Anything you wanted to advocate for?
Yeah, so I had mentioned 2 things about minors. One was just creating more minor creation. So that would be kind of working to create more holistic programs for students to be to partake in while they're at UCLA. For example, I know that Divya has been working on the business minors, so thinking about other minors that we can create for students to address the types of classes that they're looking for. I am an education studies minor, and that minor has come out of our education studies graduate department because our professors are from the graduate department of UCLA education. So thinking about other ways that we can create these opportunities more uniquely, like maybe creating a social welfare minor through the social welfare graduate school at UCLA are some ideas that I've had. I also mentioned creating practical course requirements for select minors and maybe some majors as well. Specifically, I'm an education studies minor, and to complete the education studies minor, you don't have any requirement to have taken a practical course or ever been in a classroom at all. And I don't think that that's okay. I think that everyone should be required to have some sort of either research or technical or practical experience to be able to graduate with that kind of minor. So looking about options with that, and also thinking about other ways we can just get students in the classroom getting hands-on experience. I've thought about collaborating with ASU's Access Project, which is a tutoring program, and maybe giving students credit in the Education Studies department or even the AFAM department credit for engaging in these different types of tutoring programs and other after-school programs outside of just being in class, and kind of being able to merge the theoretical with the practical and get more of a holistic experience when completing these courses. Yeah.
Other questions for Lori? Seeing none, that'll be the end of our Q&A session tonight. Lori, at this point, you'll get the opportunity to do a 1-minute conclusion. I'm going to clap once again whenever you've got about 10 seconds left, so wrap it up. But please begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I just want to say once again, I'm really thankful to have been appointed to this position, and I'm really excited about this opportunity. This seat is a really powerful seat to hold, not only because of its voting power and its kind of administrative power, but really because of the students who have fought to have this seat and fought to have a diversity of opinions, a diversity of student perspectives in the space of education policy. So with that, I plan to uphold the Academic Affairs Commission's belief in equity, sanctuary, and diversity. And I just plan to be committed to advocating for students with this position in any way that I can. Also, thank you all for your time, and thank you all for your commitment to making UCLA a better place. And it's, yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Lori. So at this point, if you're in here, I would tell you we're moving into deliberation, and be more than welcome to stay in or step out. So with that being said, we are going to mute your volume. This is time for a council discussion, but you're more than welcome to stay on and listen. You're also more than welcome to mute it on your end too. We'll just like give you some sort of sign whenever we're ready. But whatever you're comfortable with. So Jessica, if we can just mute it on our. Oh, we did? Amazing. Perfect. So in order to move forward with our discussion, we are going to need a motion in a second. So is there a motion to approve Lori Label to the undergraduate council? Justin?
Yes, I move to appoint Lori to the undergraduate council.
Is there a second? Chloe? Great. So ARC is the recommendation tonight. Is there any discussion regarding this appointment?
We're always talking about the importance of having a diversity of perspectives, and I think having someone who's done those study abroad in the CAP program is really valuable, on top of having another senior to balance out grads or representing students is also a really important perspective to have.
Just again, going back to what we talked about earlier, and like Ariel's point on having like a diverse, like people that don't come from the same background. Lori campaigned against me during the campaign, and she applied for this appointment, and she honestly was one of the best applications that we saw. She was working on a justice minor. She's working on making sure that people from the undercoms are getting the representation that they need, and through like these different ethnic studies programs and stuff. And honestly, like I'm very happy to have someone that does come from those different perspectives, because it's valuable. Having someone that doesn't be like critical of me, critical of a lot of different things, and like able to understand what the undergraduate council does with their major, minor, and like honors programs are very important.
Any other discussion regarding this appointment? So we always talk about kind of with a clear plan, and like that was so clear. 3 points, exactly what you wanted to do. It's very impressive. So if there's no other discussion, we'll move right into a vote, beginning with IDP. Yes. EVP. Yes. Gen Rep 1. Yes. Gen Rep 2. Yes. Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yep.
CSC.
Yes.
CAC.
Same.
Facilities.
Yes.
FSC.
Yes.
SWC. TSR.
Yes.
Congratulations, Lori, by a vote of 11 to 0 to 1, you've been appointed to the undergraduate student
Oh, sorry.
Oh, did you hear that? I just want to make sure she heard it.
Yeah. Lori, congratulations. Baby, can you talk about the phone games? Is this kid scared you? Yes. So why don't you talk? Thank you so much for spending with me.
She's still Are there meetings while she's still abroad? Or not here?
Just like, we get to see it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I don't go in person. This is like a conflict of interest. My professor, teacher. Last time we voted on professor, too. So like, you're not supposed to vote on, like, if your professor didn't, because like, you say like once Nobel Prize winning professors, like they get to organization. So they voted on whether they get to, this represents assistant professors don't get to do that. So then they get less.
Fascinating system. Okay, so I know Jared's been sitting here for a while. We're going to move back to the faculty executive committee with Jared. So Jared, at this point, like every other point, you'll go into your introduction. I'll put the gavel to the table. We've got about 10 seconds left. We'll move on.
Okay. Well, I wanted to first thank you for considering my appointment and reviewing my resume for the faculty executive committee. I think this is an incredibly powerful medium for making institutional change at UCLA, particularly when it comes to faculty training, things like allyship training and active shooter training, focusing on the 3 pillars of the Academic Affairs Commission, which is equity, diversity, and sanctuary. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Jared Kine, second year Master's Development Studies and Economics major from Atlanta, Georgia. And so I think that particularly my position in the Academic Affairs Commission, despite those things that before this council table situates me in a place that allows me to hear about problems that are faced across the campus community that each of the 9 departments within the commission focus on. And that provides me with the plethora of information to know what I need to address while sitting on this committee.
We're now going to move into 5 minutes of question and answer with Jared. Beginning now. Are there any questions? Yeah, but we have
Same question that I asked Austin earlier. How would you address and respond to issues?
Yeah, so I think that's more than a question for the Freedom, Academic Freedom Committee. But in regards to my personal thoughts on that, I think that's, one, staffing and faculty that is reflective of the student body, reflective of the community we're trying to serve. I think it's important for the faculty to be sensitive to issues of the student body. It has to be reflective of the student body. And so I think that's kind of the first step towards it, because there's definitely going to be conflicting interests when looking at academic freedom of professors to approach all sorts of different topics that might be insensitive and to particular communities on campus. So I think that diversity of staff on many different instances and many different fashions is a critical section to that question.
Regarding academic freedom.
Yeah, so even with the English competency professors, he or she has a lot of international students who stay afterwards, after content, and he kind of just told him, if you can't end this class, just drop it. Like how, if you're the, so how are you going to prevent this kind of discrimination on professors, and how are you going to make yourself more available to the students so that they can know who they can go to when they're having this kind of issue?
Yeah, so I can't comment on a specific case. I don't know enough about it, but absolutely, I think the first resources need to be put in place for students of all different backgrounds to make sure they have what's necessary to succeed in school, whether that be additional office hours to help understand the concept of an academic language isn't something we're typical if it is a second language. Additional resources, time spent with students who are trying to learn this material and are working hard and coming over here to learn. They don't need to be told by their professors that this is a place for them. This should be a place for everybody to come to. Yeah, in regards to that specific one, that would obviously need to be some penalty. I mean, if, you know, the professor's job is to teach and to spread knowledge, and I think that if they're refusing to do that, then that should be something that should be penalized in that case.
Yep, Aaron.
What type of human perspective do you feel like you can bring to faculty executive committee compared to Austin, for example, but also compared to non-students?
For non-students?
Compared to Austin, but as well as compared to non-students. What do you feel like the unique perspective you can bring?
Non-students, how do you mean faculty? Okay, gotcha, okay. I mean, there's particular aspects as far as like being out of state and understanding, you know, what it's like to be so far from home, but, you know, I think that adds a little bit to the perspective. Being in the Academic Affairs Commission, I think is especially, but I mean, you know, one of our departments is specifically focusing on reaching to different communities on campus and I meet with, that's actually Alex is in charge of the outreach for the Academic Affairs Commission. She's routinely meeting with different cultural organizations on campus and different aspects of their colleges and their majors on campus. And so one, connecting with her and realizing what issues she's seeing in the commission that really she's speaking to. And then particularly for non-faculty, can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying like the unique perspective.
Unique perspective. Sure, and then also I've been working with group political union for the past 2 years, so that provides me a perspective for all the political groups on campus. I think I can follow that, and I understand the needs of people who want to be civic engaged on campus. So I think that's kind of a unique perspective that we bring to the table.
Nicola, are there any other questions?
Just to back up on your answer that you had for the question about the situation that happened that you mentioned. Sure. You mentioned like things. Could you elaborate on what type of policies you think should occur when professors are making discriminatory statements, such as the ones that professor made? Which really the penalty should be.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know if you know for the university.
No, you don't know. Tell me exactly what it would be, but like, what do you think that realistically, what would be that statement that ability to decide what it was? What would you do?
Well, I think the first case would be I mean, you know, it depends on if you're doing penalties for the sake of penalizing them for the previous action, or if you actually want to improve moving forward. And I think that if you're looking for that lens of actually trying to move forward and prevent this from happening again, the first step would be to go through additional training, potentially putting that professor on leave, unpaid leave or paid leave. I'm not going to comment on that, but and then I think the most important thing about it is making sure it doesn't happen again, which it has to do with training, with professor training, sensitivity training, allyship training. Yeah.
So that's the end of our Q&A period for tonight. Are there more questions?
Yeah, I think that was just 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay, 1 second. So that is the motion by Aaron and her second. Is that coming from? Is there a second? Justin? Yeah. Okay. In order to do that, we will need to do a roll call vote again. So we have IDP? Yes. EDP? Yes. Gen 1? Yes. Gen 2? Yes. Gen 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yep.
CSC? Yes. CAC?
Yeah.
Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SWC? Yes. And TSR, yes. Okay, therefore this motion holds, and we're going to add an additional 3 minutes to our time beginning now.
Okay, same question asked last year. I think the transparency so that students know what the faculty executive committee is and stuff.
Sure, I think the first, I mean, you know, town halls are great. Attendance is always lacking, as, you know, to reiterate almost everybody who's spoken so far. I think office hours are fantastic stuff. Start with it. Yeah, the electronic aspect of it is great, making sure that my information is readily available to all students, and then also go to students that I feel like, you know, or anybody feels like aren't being specifically heard on council. So, you know, asking them, how can I serve you? You know, what can I do to represent your interests or to serve your interests on this council? What are some things you want to see? So it's a mix of both an active and a passive approach to it. The passive approach would be more the traditional sense of office hours and town hall style hearings. And then an active approach would be going out to student group whose voices traditionally aren't heard on the Senate committee and asking them how I can serve them.
Any other questions? So just to comment on that last part, like student groups whose voices aren't traditionally heard, I don't know that there was one student group that's voice has been traditionally heard on the
back to the executive committee, so can you tell us how you plan on doing broad outreach to ensure that all student voices, regardless of affiliations, are represented and heard by you and all the representatives on this committee?
Yeah, I think that that's a time commitment, starting with going to different meetings for cultural orgs, going to different professional meetings for, South Campus majors, pre-med fraternities or, pre-law fraternities on the North Campus side, because I think that I'd say that the South Campus is kind of a voice that usually we don't see a whole lot on these types of committees. If we wanted to talk about a group that hasn't heard, that's just one. So, whether it be a combination of different professional groups or cultural groups, I think that it's definitely a time commitment to reach out and to be active with this. But it's certainly something that should be done by somebody who's a member of this committee.
So we've got a little bit less than a minute left. Any other questions? Seeing none, that's the end of our Q&A period. Jared, this will have 1 minute to do a conclusion and go with the gavel when we've got about 10 seconds left.
Sure. Thank you guys again for considering my appointment. I hope to be able to serve on this committee and serve students around campus. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jared. At this point, you will also have the opportunity to step in or stay out whatever you're more comfortable with. Great. So in order to move forward to deliberation, you will need a motion in a second. Is there a motion on the table to approve Jared's appointment to the faculty executive committee?
The motion Jared is for faculty.
Is there a second? Justin, and there's no recommendation from the RC, so we'll begin deliberations now. Any discussion regarding this appointment?
So just as I used to be on, just as institutionally, I'm on the executive board, it used to be actually the faculty executive board. So having Jared on there representing the academic affairs commission is very important because it connects faculty to the commission that is advocating for education policy. In addition to that, having him on planning and budget also is important, and I'm going to try and institutionalize it this next year, having members of the AAC office in both of those, because planning and budget talks about the tuition money that we spend, and having 2 members of there, having 2 members on it makes sense, because then we're able to have one that's not part of the office and one that is. And making sure that we understand where our tuition money goes is important, but again, back to his faculty executive committee, it used to be the AAC that would sit on there, then they moved it to the executive board, but that's why I placed him on both, and we'll try to institutionalize it next meeting to have the chief of staff or a member of the AAC within both. Yes.
Any other discussion? So I personally take issue with your chief of staff having 2 appointments. I think that the point of these appointments is to provide more students with more opportunities. While I understand the importance of having someone who's in the office and report directly back to you is important, I see no reason why a student who isn't already in an office couldn't serve that function in the same way that we have students who we appoint to SIOC and CRC. Those students are expected to be accountable to us and via that be accountable to you all. I think it's not fair to have a member of your office appointed to 2 positions. While I understand the purpose of the function, I do think that there is a way to go about it that provides more students with more opportunities on this campus, as opposed to, and I hate to say that, because I think Jared really represents himself super well. I will go back to my own personal experience. When I was appointed to the board of directors, I had students who questioned my ability to do certain jobs because of the breadth of my involvement. But I think my concern is really the number of opportunities we're providing to the number of students, and I think concentrating 3 meaningful opportunities in 1 student is not the best way for us to utilize this point for these appointments. Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. I'm noticing, just me personally, it seems like there's a trend of just insular upward mobility, which is great to build up people in your office, but it just seems strange that these opportunities are allowed to other people outside of your office. But I can only vote on the based on my merit.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have to say.
So what we're trying to do with these committees is at least one of those seats is add one and then also institutionalize one for the commission, just like I'm institutionalizing the executive board, because they deal specifically with tuition and because they deal specifically with faculty. So those are 2 things that we kind of need to be to understand completely and holistically. I do understand that
there aren't those people that there are people in these appointments that are made for people in student representation, but no one applied. And like, we do need those boards filled. And it being week 6, I mean, there were 3 faculty executive committees, and I had to do all 3 of them. And I didn't have another student rep. It's very important that we have it. And that'll be reflected on the next like bylaw change that I do post, just to make sure that we have an understanding. Just as I was on the executive board as well, and that's where the change in the bylaws as well. But that's where I'm kind of standing with the reason why that was the appointment.
Just want to be clear, how many people applied for this position?
This and no, I think Austin did and Jared did. Those would be the only 2. Yeah, we didn't have many applications to anything that was an action item actually, except for the people that applied for them. So it was kind of, and you still need another one for the undergraduate admissions and relations in schools, which I'll be sending to her. And I could follow. Yeah.
Just because like I feel like REL got a lot of like slack for not getting that many applications for her positions. But like no one's giving you stocks. I'm just wondering what did you do? Like how did you reach out?
So the reason why is because these like are required to have a CPOs and they're not stipended. Like a lot of the different ones that REL have are stipended and like they could move forward.
What if the stipend matters?
Because like, this would be a problem if Jared was getting paid in a bunch of different ways. That's the problem. Because like he's like our commission pays, like looking at our bylaws, like if he was getting paid in this, there's no way that I would allow him to get paid again through another appointment. You feel me? Yeah. Like it's a difference between like student representation and like that conflict of interest of getting paid. And then also like moving funds within the academic affairs commission, that would also be a problem. But there are no funds that are being moved within these volumes.
So just to clarify, the appointments for presidential appointments don't come within the president's budget, so there's no conflict of interest there either. And I'm not directing this at you, but at the whole council rather. I think Aaron's pointing out a really important point. My appointments and my appointment process were scrutinized so highly, and I invite the scrutiny because it pushes me to work harder and my appointments directors to work harder. But the double standard that is being displayed here tonight, it's unfitting of you as elected students on this campus. And that's all I'm going to say. But I'm extremely disappointed and extremely hurt right now.
How many appointment directors does your office have?
And that might be something we're changing, because the president's office is mandated to have 3, and that may allow them to do more outreach than one person can do through the bylaws.
We're not even bylaw mandated to have a secretary. So it's very different type of way. It's been, yeah, it's been around. In talking about other committee or talking to the other academic affairs commissioners like from before, or someone from 10 years ago, and he was saying that he like appointed people from his office too, not in a way of being like, oh yeah, I didn't have anyone, but like it used to be a way of like, that's how the committee was formed. They used to form the different commissions or the different committees based on these different Senate positions. So.
And I understand that, but I think we as a council have reached a consensus that we do want to provide at least based on our actions, as many opportunities for as many students. And I'm concerned that this round of appointments is going back on that commitment. But with that being said, is there any discussion regarding this appointment? Yeah.
When is the next scheduled meeting for the
I think it's next. There was one last week.
We cannot do that.
Yeah, there's one.
6.
Is it 2 years?
After, yeah, it's 2 years.
Is it 1 or 2 years?
It's 1. These are all 1 year.
I also don't want to like penalize Jared based off of the process, but I do think that like it's something we do need to talk about.
I think we should bylaw mandate a lot of stuff too.
I just personally don't know if I agree with the bylaw mandating of something coming from the office.
Oh, not that, but like having a number of appointment directors, having a number of things like that, that's important, because we don't have that. We only have like appoint this or appoint that, and it's like a very unorganized type of way of mandating anything, so.
Yeah, Nicole.
I have this like, I really respect the fact that you're bringing that up, Argo, because like, I do agree that your appointments were like heavily scrutinized, and I think that given the next meeting is like week 9, and there's still time to maybe open up the applications again. I think that we should at least consider, and this is not to like bring any judgment on Jared or anything like that. I think he's extremely qualified, but if we're trying to like hold a standard for how we scrutinize people for the appointments that they grant, I think we should like have that from everyone on council, not just like certain members, because I like to agree that past spring quarter or the beginning of the year, there was like extremely critical viewpoints that we did bring up, and I think we just need to hold that same standard for all council members, just so that we're not like being biased in any sort of way. And like again, considering that the next meeting is week 9 and it's week 6, I think maybe that should like play in how we decide to move forward, because there's still a little bit of time.
So these applications have been open for what, since June. So like how many months left in July, August, September, October, November, 6 months. And we still haven't seen anyone from the faculty executive committee. I mean, there's like, even with 3 weeks left, like we'll try different marketing tactics and things like that. But it is important to our commission to have someone in there that like is part of the commission. Not trying to overlay different things, but it's a precedent. Like, I mean, the executive board has a name on it because of the commission, you know? Like, that's how it used to play out, and that's how like things kind of play out with the academic senate. It's very intentional in that way.
Yeah, okay, going off of what Nicole said, I remember like, correct me if I'm wrong, for either one or multiple of Ariel's appointments, we sort of did like a more open application process where all of us like reached out to our different networks. So like, I'd be interested in doing that perhaps.
I would also be remiss if I didn't say that like the motion on the table is about Jared, and I apologize, I have allowed the conversation to develop a little bit, but I do think that for the time being, this is a broader conversation we should have, but out of respect for him and the time that he's spent here, let's try to keep the conversation to being about Jared, although I do think it's an important conversation that we should have moving forward. Maybe we can put it on the agenda for next week, just so that we can set some standards moving forward, so that we can all be accountable and just fair in our processes moving forward. But and I'll draw his hands up.
It's not related to Jared, so I mean, I think it's like relevant. Like I don't know, because it's like relevant to like I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'm like curious. I know they're not my appointments, but there are a lot of bylaws that mandate that people come from CSC. So I'm just wondering, you know, and I'm sure it'll be a bigger discussion, but it's like there's a reason that our office is in those appointments because, like, yeah, historically they've been that way. That's the precedent. So I'm just wondering because I think it's different for every office, but I'm wondering.
So
that's a precedent that exists.
There is a precedent that I would sit on that board, and like seeing that I'm already on those other ones, like it does make sense to have my second committee sit on. And it used to be the faculty executive committee that I would sit on, and it makes sense. I mean, like from what I said, like these committees were historically formed under these offices for a specific reason, and so by doing that, it does add to the validity of what we're doing within the commission, and it does give us that ability to like streamline those communications. That's why there are two, because it used to be the commissioner and then a student representative. But just understanding that holistically is important. And then like making sure that's in the bylaws, because a lot of times like with the academic appointments are fairly new to the bylaws, so they were really kind of just like thrown in there as a calendar appointments and stuff, and that even the executive board doesn't say that I'm supposed to sit on it, but like getting the email from the administrative county and telling me like what the faculty executive committee is, what the executive board is, and how I need to sit on those things is like important. So it is important that we have someone on that board. I am going to work on making sure that that's mandated and in that history is like in the bylaws, because like even for the executive board it's not in there. But yeah, I do agree with your point on this review though, and like making sure that that's a conversation.
I think just for the sake of time, I appreciate the conversation at 9:25, so Justin, hopefully we can start wrapping up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Jared is amazingly qualified. And also, I'll just add on to it, I think it's a real privilege to have two or three positions in student government. I'm ready to vote.
I would just say that, like, I wish that, I understand the arguments being made for a member of your office, or a member of AXC being in the faculty executive committee. I wish then that there would have been more outreach for the planning and budget committee and that another member of your office potentially, if that was important and considered for that position. Just because I do think that 3 positions for 1 person is an issue, but again, we're evaluating the merit of this particular candidate, so if everyone's comfortable moving ahead with the vote, we can do that.
Also, with the planning and budget committee, I understand that they're also adding another representative, so it won't just be, like, it won't be taken, like, there will be another person there as well, if that, like, eases up.
So, clarification, so since you said no one applied to this position, we're having individuals from just one member, is the plan then have Jerry the permanent member?
Yeah, the permanent member, he's actually the only permanent member that is, like, on this, the other ones from the office that already has some of those rotational positions that are still on.
So then he literally applied to the position?
Yes.
And just moving forward as well for the sake of, we'll take the vote honestly, but afterwards. IDP? Yes. EVP?
Same.
Generic 1? Abstain. Generic 2? Abstain. Generic 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC? Facilities?
No.
FSC?
No.
SWC?
Yes.
And TSR?
Yes.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favor. 2 against. And 1, 2, 3, 4 abstaining. So in that case, the appointment is confirmed. Congratulations, Sherry. You've been appointed to. And last but certainly not least from the academic affairs appointments, we have Aiden. Thank you so much for your patience tonight. So we have someone quickly read the undergraduate admissions in relation to schools academic description. Nicole, would you mind? Yeah, thank you. CUARS Advisory and oversees the Office of Undergraduate Admissions and Relations with Schools and the Chancellor's Office on matters pertaining to undergraduate admissions policy and helps formulate guidelines for admissions to be used during the admission process. Great, thank you so much. So Aiden, like all the rest of the appointments, you're going to have an opportunity to do a 1-minute introduction, then a 5-minute question and answer, and 1-minute conclusion. 1 minute to get our timer up. And you begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Aiden Ayers-Hussingham, and I'm a first-year student majoring in political studies and economics. I was first inspired to serve on the Academic Senate after attending an Academic Senate workshop at the UC Student Association's annual student organizing summit this summer, hosted by Parshad Rajavi back there. Despite the importance of the workshop's message, I was amazed that it was only me and 1 other student who attended. And I decided that day, back in August, that if no one else would be the change that I wanted in the system, then I would take that upon myself. Admissions here at UCLA is a process I've just gone through as a first-year student, and it's one that I deeply care about. The success of UCLA is directly tied to the students that have missed, but the ways in which we admit students needs to improve. As diverse as our school is, we can do better, and as equitable as our admissions process appears to be, we can also do better. During the next year, I hope to not only be the voice for the students that UCLA already has, but for the voiceless students that UCLA needs. Thank you.
We're now going to move into 5-minute Q&A for the council beginning now. Are there any questions for Aiden? Yeah, Nicole.
What are a couple of ideas that you have in competitions to try and make like the admissions possible? To try and reach out to them. Or are there any foreseeable changes in composition that you would like to propose or seek to the admissions office and the way that they like have their applications?
Okay, so very good question. So I focused on some of the changes that are happening within this year in the admissions process, and there's some major ones. First of all, this is the first year that what's called the augmented studies process is implemented across many UC schools, UCLA included, which means that the UCLA admissions office, like Berkeley piloted in 2015, can now use letters of recommendation, supplemental documents, when working with students that they're kind of on the fence about admitting. So in terms of equity, that presents an issue because students from more privileged backgrounds typically have better letters of recommendation than students from underprivileged backgrounds. So while this is the first year that is happening, I want to make sure that the admissions office is accountable in making sure that this pilot program is rolled out in a way that makes sure to prioritize the equity of students and not advantage certain students from certain backgrounds. In addition to that, I would continue working with the admissions office on programs to expand outreach to underserved communities and underprivileged communities. Root Ambassadors is one of the programs they have right now, and I would make sure to interface with them to make sure that continues.
A lot of the work on this committee really intimately relates to the work of access to retention projects on campus. So what is your relationship with those organizations, and what did you do to engage with them to get feedback?
So one of the organizations that I would really work to get involved with is the Student Initiated Outreach Committee, which has goals very similar to and in line with CUARS as a committee. So I would work with that and other organizations on campus that do have access and retention efforts already in play. I would work to see what ideas they have, to open myself up to input and feedback from them so that we could have a better coordinated strategy of improving access and retention here at UCLA.
Any other questions? So given that this is your first year on campus, you're relatively new, but I think you're extremely well spoken. What will you do to ensure that you have the relationships in place to ensure that all students know that you are their point of access to this particular committee, but that you also are aware of the diverse needs of our campus student population?
Certainly. So one of the experiences that I feel best suits this is my work of serving under my school board previously, and that gave me the ability to represent over 33,000 students, similar to this appointment right now. So I didn't have to deal with that exact same concern of interfacing with students from that I would perhaps never meet or had concerns directly relevant to this, but were not directly in my circle of people. So one of the things that I would commit myself to is holding office hours, working with the AAC for the town halls, as well as something that I did back in my time on the school board was target input surveys online and feedback forms as well. I feel that one of the things that really helped me was having data to back up the things that I was advocating for, so we worked to do that this year as well.
Any other questions? Just for the sake of our conversation too, how did you find out about this appointment, and how did you receive the application?
Okay, so I found out about this appointment originally from that UCSOS workshop about the Academic Senate. And so I was excited to apply to the Academic Senate, so I just went on Facebook, I Googled, or I had Facebook, I guess, the Academic Affairs Commission, and I saw that application form, and I completed it. I believe week one when I was down here.
Got about 40 seconds left. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, that's the conclusion of our Q&A. At this point, I'm going to give you one in conclusion of the gavel. We've got about 10 seconds left.
Okay, so thank you for the questions. And in conclusion, I do not take the responsibility of representing the interests of over 30,000 undergraduate students and over 100,000 expected applicants likely on this Academic Senate. There will be many issues that the Committee on Undergraduate Admissions and Relations with Schools will address this year, including rising applicant numbers, the effects of state and national policy on the willingness of students to apply, and the rollout of UCLA's new augmented admissions procedures and the solicitation of rising recommendation, to name a few. So despite these coming challenges, I'm confident that my proven track record as an impassioned student advocate will allow me to carry out my duties on the CUAR as well, to not only advocate for the current UCLA students, but the future leaders and innovators who will make UCLA home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aiden. At this point, you also be invited to either stay there or step out, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Thank you.
So in order to move forward with discussion, we will need a motion on the table. Yeah.
I motion to move into reports. Undergrad, or Committee of Undergraduate Admissions and Relations with Schools.
Is there a second? Stop that person starting. There's no recommendation from ARC. Is there any discussion regarding this appointment? Yes.
Just for our bylaws and just for the council to know, this is not the appointment that was seen by the SAOC. The SAOC oversees one other appointment that sits on this board. David is here just as the, wasn't overseen by the SAOC. Because there are two, if anyone needs clarification, it's in the bylaws. There are two people that sit on it. One who goes through the academic appointment process like everyone else. The other one, SAOC picks someone to be appointed by the academic organization. So they'll go through the application process again, but they'll be picked from the committee.
Is there any other discussion? Justin?
I just qualified his resume, I really shows that comes from, he has a lot of experience, so she'll ask the question, his opinions on the student cap or the international cap of enrollments, is studying abroad or is it international student? I said it, I studied abroad, yes. But I thought that too, so I know to follow up outside the council.
Any other discussion? Yeah.
It's really impressive how reaching out to us and finding to this community and your hard work. I'm really impressed. I think that you will do great things.
That's our, I think it was really cool, how it's like loneliness and education, it seems.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll head with the vote, beginning with IDP. Yes. EDP? Yes. Gen 1? Yes. Gen 2? Gen 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yep.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Abstaining.
Facilities? FSC?
Yep.
SWC? Yes. And TSR? Yes. Therefore, by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, to 0 to 1, congratulations, you moved this. Before we move ahead, I want to acknowledge that I made a mistake. The previous appointment for Jared Kine to the Faculty Executive Committee by a vote of 6 to 2 to 4 did not pass. There was actually a tie because abstentions do not count as no, they count as a no and not as a false, so that appointment was not confirmed. Does anyone need any clarification about that? And if there are any Robert's Rules experts who can confirm that, that would be great. Confirm? Yes. So there was a tie. So that appointment was not confirmed. I'm sorry, Jared, I apologize for that. We have our last appointment for tonight. It's coming from the Office of the President. It is Sarah Brown to the Chancellor's Technology Development Group Oversight Committee. I will read you all the description right now. Membership should possess experience that reflects insight into the issues and concerns facing academic institutions in a growing entrepreneurial environment. They should express evidence of an ability to seek out innovative and creative ways to improve operations and produce outstanding results. And they should show dedication to the stewardship of the university resource. Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So in case of a tie, is the president not vote, or?
It's only on constitutional matters. Yeah, this is an appointment, so it's not on constitutional. Can you confirm that for me, Jessica?
I just need to, it's a majority of voting members not voting in the affirmative, so since the majority of voting members didn't vote yes, then it counts as. It doesn't matter whether people.
It's technically not a tie.
Yeah. We just need to get 7 yes.
Yes. It's unfortunate. So moving ahead with this appointment, it's a consent item. So is there any opposition to the appointment of Sarah Brown to the Chancellor's Technology Development Group Oversight Committee?
I just promise for that.
Oh, we just read it, but can we do it again if you'd like?
Sure.
Okay, so.
I was looking at the.
I appreciate that. Membership possess experience that reflects insight into the issues and concerns facing academic institutions in a growing entrepreneurial environment. They should express evidence of an ability to seek out innovative and creative ways to improve operations and produce outstanding results, and they should express dedication to the stewardship of the university's resources. So I'll ask once again, is there any opposition to the appointment of Sarah Brown to the Chancellor's Technology Development Group Oversight Committee? Seeing none, this appointment is approved, and that is the end of our appointments for tonight. Moving ahead with officer member reports, we time checked our 9:40. It's pretty late, so I will quickly touch on. Would you all prefer that we share? We'll just share. I will try to keep this as concise as possible with regard to Bruins Brigade. We're doing a resume and interview workshop, Bruins Brigades with FSC by the end of this quarter. Bruins fight back with regard to the Bruin card. We had our most recent follow-up meeting with Student Affairs, UCPG, Bruin card, LGBT Campus Resource Center, and Trans Up to talk about potential changes to our already made progress by potentially moving legal names and potentially adding pronouns to the cards as well. Regarding Malik's question of how UCPDs would engage with communities that they traditionally have not as great relationships, there was an idea that was expressed there to have UCPD and Trans Up conduct mutual education sessions where Trans Up learn more about this experience, police officers learn more about trans experiences on campus. So that's one way to do that. I do want to major shout out to Zara in her office for the dance spaces town hall. I'm sure she can tell us all about it, but this space is amazing today. So we are really excited to see Leo, who's coming from our office, as well as Op-Ed. I think it's amazing what student space is really growing to express their sentiments. Met with the president of OCHC. They are interested in potentially doing a joint retreat between USAC and OCHC as like students come together and start talking about shared priorities, how we can support each other. And just because the presentation would happen tonight with regard to Bruin Bike Share, I'm interested in working on a resolution to A, commend Bruin Bike Share for the progress they've already made, and call upon the university to install more bike stations in the apartments area for students living in that area to increase access. So if anyone's interested in being part of that work, please let me know. Any questions? Yes, Caleb.
Are we still going to remove the legal name also?
So it's a potential option right now, right? So there are legal issues with regard to UCPD that make that a little bit more difficult, but we're trying to weigh the costs and benefits of that particular field.
I don't know if there's some, I mean, will we have the legal name and her name, but sometimes the credit card, it has a legal name.
Yeah.
But when we're, using the credit card, sometimes we see our ID, but we don't really carry a passport everywhere we go, so we just show our student ID. So if you, that might be a thing.
I appreciate it. Let's talk about it more. Any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to IDP.
So we changed the USAC life mechanisms on our last meeting, so I haven't noticed yet. Yeah, so it's the one on the right. So we're not using the laptop. So hopefully the quality is getting better for everyone who's watching us. And also, we are also trying to work with DOL to create and USAC Live and UCLA email so we can get the viewers on YouTube. But as of now, USAC Live is still open to everyone. The off-campus living fair will be on January 22nd, and so far we got 5 amazing companies reaching out to us. And we're doing Westwood or doing like Sotel, Stockholm Grocer. Please reach out to me. And this year we are charging landlords basically 3 tiers. The first one is $100, and then $200 and $300. With different levels of everything. I also met with Chancellor Morgan last Wednesday to discuss the work price, electronic staffs, and work on pilot. Hopefully we can work on something after that.
So, any questions for BB? Thank you. Moving on to EDP.
Last Friday, I had the opportunity to attend the Mayor Summit. It's an annual summit on like housing and other economic issues in the city of Los Angeles. I just take away from that I actually didn't realize before was that in November 2018, this year, there's going to be a couple of local ballot initiatives that actually impact municipal funding for low-income housing units. So normally we raise some awareness to campus and just having enough information about that. I think that was something that I hadn't been aware of previously. And then this past weekend, we had our UCSA board meeting at UC Irvine. A couple takeaways from that. So one, we're trying to keep on is that we passed a resolution that's actually condemned the government
tax plan, since that would have some pretty damning implications specifically for graduate students. And then another thing is that the new UC-wide Title IX advisory board, the application they said is expected to come out sometime in the next 2 weeks, and it will be closed. It's officially out today. Oh, okay, there you go. So it's out today. It'll be open until the end of this month. And then, yeah, that's it. And then tomorrow we have our Labor Day of Action, and our soccer and working on this since like June. So please come out if you can. Essentially between 12 to 5 o'clock, we have teachings that are happening every single hour run by both external campus organizations as well as the campus entities. And we'll also have postcard and petition signing throughout the whole day that will be then using the walking efforts in January. Long story short, for why we're doing this, so essentially we're expecting the state to give us money to VCs for the upcoming fiscal year because of like issues that have been happening. And so because of that, VC regions are planning on tuition that go 2.5% for in-state students, 3% for out-of-state international students. And so compounded with increases from this year, that would be at least a 5 to 6% increase. So that's why we're having this sort of day of action. We'll have more follow-ups. Once the budget is actually released in January, so this is kind of just the first day of a series of actions that will be happening during the quarter.
Any questions for Chloe? And I have an email draft working up with that application for the student advisory board, and literally just need to click send. I apologize, I didn't do it before the meeting. So that'll be out for you all soon. Thank you, Chloe, and moving on to AAC.
Okay, so we are looking to implement our first pass units for our 12 units for your first pass in winter quarter enrollment. And then I'll try and keep it short, it's pretty long. And then we had our counseling speed dating workshop in role 3108, 4 to 6 today. And then we have our resume workshop in acronym 2408 on November 9th, so it's this Thursday. And then on week 10, there's Chill on the Hill, which is a code program with the Hill on city space, animals, face masks, academic resources, materials, notebooks will be given away. And then our diversity requirement oversight actually identified a board that's called the Ad Hoc Diversity Syllabi Review Committee. And what they pretty much do is cross those courses with the diversity requirement that don't come out of the ethnic studies department. So what we're trying to do is dissolve that board and then also add ethnic studies department professors and gender studies department professors to the existing diversity requirement advisory board, because currently there are none that are from there. And then Sanctuary Campus raised $397 from their campus or Sanctuary Campus yard sale. It'll be going directly to Cafe 580 and then distributed to undocumented students as scholarships. Week 9, we're having our study space focus group with Design for America. It'll be in the Blackstone in Covell. There's a space under like Blackstone. I'm not sure what room it is, but I think it's on the 3rd floor. They'll be able to create different, 2nd floor. They'll be able to create different ideas of what they want the study space to be.
Any questions for Beth? Thank you. Moving on to SWC.
After finance put on a long grad speed, which they success. They also did a national students for resilience workshop this week, which was great. They'll also be hosting an event on November 18th for National Suicide Survivor Day in collaboration with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the location and time is TBD. We'll also be working on a first-gen college workshop in the future, and we'll be collaborating with the resident neuropsychiatric hospital for the patients. Body image task force and sex experts are doing a program tomorrow night called Thinking Sexploitation, and that'll be in Covell, South Bay from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And this last week, did a gardening day on Sunday for their plot in Sunset, and they shared their seeds and hopefully releasing some birds in the future that will awesome. They'll also be working with facilities in the future for urban results to be a building swap happening November 17th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they're also working on the Great American Smokeout. It's just a event to encourage people to either stop smoking or not begin smoking. That'll be November 16th. Aside from that, SWC internship applications are still out, so if anyone's interested in joining in that capacity, there's a specific event and also find it on the website.
Any questions for Christina? Thank you. Moving on to facilities.
So we helped the dance community host their dance spaces town hall this evening. So thanks to all the council members who supported with their presence and chairs and extension cords. Also, shout out to Roy for attending as well. He's one of the administrative representatives present on the panel. Around over 120 students from dance and performance groups on campus attended. So shout out to them for mobilizing in a very beautiful way. The event was amazing. It was beautiful. The dance community got to share their experiences and current practice conditions, and then present concrete solutions to administration. Administration got to speak about current projects that are in the works in regards to adequate practice space and how they plan to support future efforts. So we hope to continue with efforts over the course of the year and ensure that our dance community will be direct stakeholders in this conversation in the year to come. Second, our No Life Safety Bystander Intervention Program. The first in the series will be held Wednesday, November 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. Within the Carmicel Hermosa room. We're co-programming with Samahang, APC, the social justice advocates, as well as residential life. It will be an interactive session regarding discrimination-based violence and how to respond to these incidents while keeping the victims of these incidents as well as yourself safe in those sorts of situations. And then lastly, Bruin Bazaar will be held on November 17th. It's sort of like a community swap meet. It'll be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Bruin Plaza. We'll be collecting donations all of week 7 on Bruin Walk, and then all of those items will be present during the swap meet. Suggestions for items include clothing, shoes, extra cables, books, even kitchen equipment, and all donations must be in good condition. E3 as well as SWC's Earth will be tabling with information and activities about zero waste and how to incorporate recycling into your daily affairs. The event is also a part of the My Last Trash campaign, which brings awareness to the UC's commitment to go zero waste by 2020.
Thank you. Any questions for Zara? Thanks so much. Moving on to FSC.
All right, awesome. So first, update from my Bruins affordability campaign. So we're going to be on Bruin Walk on Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. sharing information and answering questions about Pell Grants and Cal Grants. And number 2, related to that, affordability campaign, we're going to be, we actually just did announce that our committee put together a list of over 20 scholarships. Some of those are cultural based, some are merit based, some are based off of nature. And so we published that on our Facebook page. So hopefully, the reason why I wanted to do this is because I think for a lot of people, including myself, it's really hard to find scholarships. You know, a lot of people say, oh, just find a scholarship. It's not, you know, it's not that easy. So I wanted to put together a list, and so we're able to find, obviously it's not like every scholarship out there, but over 20 of them based off of different criteria. And then second thing is the USAC Parking Advocacy Task Force met with Transportation Parking Services on Friday. And I just want to publicly thank UCLA Transportation because they've secured $1,000 in funding to create a scholarship fund that's going to be used to give parking scholarships to low-income students next quarter. So basically, my office is going to be working with the task force in order for us to take that $1,000 and distribute it as 10 $100 parking scholarships. And this is actually something that was done a few years ago in Heather Rose's office. But I think what makes this especially important is that now it's going to be something that's institutionalized, as opposed to something that was fought for 1 year and sort of lost. I think now that we have the task force, it's going to be something that can be continued long term. So stay tuned for details.
Any questions for Erin? Thank you. Oh, yeah, please.
Have you run into any problems in terms of finding something, a scholarship? Because, and this is just a side note, I just run into problems with campaigns that I'm running because it's not coming from financial aid, therefore we can't call it a scholarship. So I kind of I don't know if you ever run into that problem.
So scholarship aid.
Because it affects the financial aid and the financial aid they receive.
Wait, can you ask the question?
Yeah. So for me, for the scholarship campaign that I'm raising, I can no longer call it a scholarship campaign because it has no affiliation to financial aid, and financial aid is really on the students. So I was just curious if you have run into similar problems or not.
I'll look into that, but to my knowledge, most of the scholarships that we found are not UCLA specific, or even the ones that are UCLA. Yeah, like even the ones that are UCLA specific, UCLA, they're like from, like, for example, like the cultural scholarships that we have, let's say you're part of a particular cultural group, they're like donated for students who fit, you know, or like if they're nature based, then it's like, I'm looking to like give money to like science students, because like I'm a political activist and I want to inspire the next generation.
I think the difference is Aaron's compiling a list of scholarships is not raising money. For you particularly, when we did our transfer scholarship last year, we teamed up with the BRC and used a discretionary fund. We created one for transfers, and then we were able to call a scholarship. So with your Spark campaign, you're raising money for undocumented students, correct?
Yeah.
So what you can do is ask ideas to put that money into their discretionary fund, and then have them use it for scholarships too. So that way you can call it that. Because all they need is a UCLA affiliated account, but I don't know if the Spark campaign will allow you to do that. That's the thing, because we raised our money from alumni and student funders, like restaurant funders. So it was never touched by a UCLA entity like Spark.
Okay, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
So there are no other questions for Aaron, and we want to jump back to Tuesday.
So currently we're just preparing the events for International Education Week, which is next week. And we're going to have open mic storytelling event and UCLA in the Math event partner with International Student Leadership Coalition on next Wednesday in Kirkhoff Art Gallery and Kirkhoff Patio on Thursday. And just to follow up with the details of International Career Fair with Career Center. So at the last meeting, we have agreed to co-host an International Career Fair. So all the companies that come to the career fair will stay, that hire international student will stay afterwards, and they will meet with international students individually. And it's also like an info session for them to kind of explain to them how international students are kind of like considered in the hiring market. Then you will just go to the career fair side. And then our campus engagement team went to different events and filled a survey and reported back to the office. We will learn about what student groups need in our weekly meeting from the campus engagement team. And our project, Second Impression, is going to launch next week. Just a refresh of memory. So Second Impression is a UC-wide initiative, and Berkeley reached out to us, and they're also trying to expand to other UC campuses. And it will be kind of like a storytelling media that spotlights international students. And please like our Facebook page next week. And lastly, we'll meet with nutrition health educator on health to discuss how to best support students to build a positive body image. And thank you, Christina, for the connection. And we will also put in the recognition right. So it's a recognition that celebrates students' non-academic achievements, and we are putting together an application by this week.
Any questions for Kayla? Thank you, Kayla. Unless anyone gave anyone update to CEC, we're going to strike that from the agenda and move on to TS.
Okay, so my event for the Thanksgiving series that I spoke about last week is on its way. That's what happened. So excited for that. I've been posting just to get an estimate of people that will be attending. So my flyer is about to go out. Just waiting to do last minute things with that. Please spread the word. You know anyone that is going to be staying here over Thanksgiving break. Yeah, and RSVP yourself if you will be here. You'll get fed. It'll be dope. And you get to meet just all the students that will be here throughout that weekend. Additionally, our internship applications we're still accepting them. They're on a rolling basis. I'll post that again. We're doing some great apps, so I'm excited about that. And then I am in discussion with the Alumni Association about doing dinner for transfers. Of course, to give them more community. And yeah, that's it.
Any questions, Ms. Wall?
Yes, regarding the Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
do you have like a flyer or maybe email that I could send out to
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for, I just approved it, so they're just editing it, and it'll have like the RCP link on it, as well as like the times and locations for everything. It'll be Wednesday through, Saturday.
Any other questions? I know, I think that is an event for general students that doing Thanksgiving, just gonna have dinner or something, but they have limited space, so maybe like, I think maybe there are more students who want to go to that event, but don't really have, they probably are not space, so they're thinking about to international students too.
Yeah, it's for all students.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone, like I'll be giving it to like RAs, to send out to their students. So anyone is welcome. I'm trying to get like a number now to see like how many people we're providing for. Yeah, but as soon as I get like the final link and everything, I will send that over to all of you.
Question, with your expertise on all things transfer related, what are your thoughts on, Gardenia and Holly both being like fully transferred and that, like being like, I guess, insular to transfers and not letting them branch out to other communities? You know what I'm trying to say?
What do you mean, not branch out?
So I think people were most before. Yeah, just like forced to be together kind of.
Oh, like they're like sister building? Like, is that what you're saying?
No, like all the transfers.
In one
Yeah.
building? What do I think about? I think it's awesome. I love on transfer building. Like, I thought it was really great, my opinion, because I got to live with people that like went through the same thing, and like, you know, it's hard just coming to this campus, and so you might not, if you're not like me, say like outgoing and ready to speak to other people, it is a good opportunity for people to live on a floor with others who went through that whole community college process, applying to a UC process, and then you have non-chads and older students as well that live there. So you just honestly get like it's great networking, but also like it's another new family for you to have, it's like a new safe haven. And I love that all of Holly is transferred. When I lived, there was only 2 schools. And I think just having like Holly and Gardenia right next to each other is great because you have so many people, and you have access to those buildings. And so it's just a really good community for one another. Yeah.
With that, like, you're not like forced to do this with your community. There used to be like a way you can like type in, because it used to be a living learning community, but then they just like opted into having people in Gardenia and Holland because it was easier to have them like with transfers, but you're able to opt out of it as well. So if you feel as though you don't want to be in that floor, or you have a problem with the building, or you have a problem with the roommates, or you don't want to be on a transfer specific floor, you can opt out. So it's not really like this is your one track way. You can,
They don't give freshmen the option of where they want to live? Like in a living learning community?
no, but like, we also run the like.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can opt out.
When it was my year, we had to take.
Yeah, I just want to know, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Just for the sake of time, it's 10:03, I'm gonna ask to maybe have this conversation in another place. We're gonna move on to CSE.
Okay, real quick. We had our 15th annual leaf service on Saturday. It went so well. We had hundreds of students come, and so far gotten a lot of really good feedback. It was crazy. It was awesome. We thought it was gonna rain. It was a whole big thing, but it didn't rain. It was amazing. And our alternative breaks, I believe, have sent out all of their like admissions for the year, and they'll start doing like year-long programs with the students that have been accepted to the like trips that they're going on. So they're building a lot more like education beforehand and meetings and experiences to learn a lot more about the topics they'll be exploring on their trips, which will be really good. And then just an update from one of our projects, which is Filipinos for Community Health. They're having a pre-health panel on Wednesday, week 7 at the Career Center. And they have 6 panelists, all representatives from various graduate schools in the healthcare industry. And it's open to all UCLA students. It's put on by Filipinos for Community Health.
Any questions for Adriana? Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Jenna.
Like, this is really important, so we're going to send out to make sure that everyone's okay, so, the UCLA Smart campaign that I mentioned previously, they officially launched today, and so like the website is out, the campaign picture is out. I haven't necessarily sent you any link, but I will, or just, but like, I'll send the administrators, I sent Dr. Geller, but she's out of the office, so she didn't even get me. Okay, but honestly, like, if I always try to share everyone's posts, like I always try to share them, even if it doesn't relate to anything that my office is doing. So I would really, really appreciate it from all of you. Thank you to the ones who have already done it. Thank you to the people who have already donated, like shout out to Kayla and Malik, like thank you so much. But if you could, like, I'm not asking you to donate because I know that it's hard to, but if you could share it, like if you could share it so much, like that would be so helpful. Because like today I've sent, like, it wasn't that hard to send them, but I sent like over 400 emails to reach out because this is something that's just so important to me and that our office has been working so like diligently on. So if you could please like spread that message, like we even like I emailed the chancellor, like that was really great of me. I was like, I'm gonna reach out because there's no harm in doing that. Like that's how hard I'm like going on this campaign. And today's just the first day and we've already raised like over $300, so it's like really cool. I would like to resend links. Also, another last thing, and I mentioned this in the group chat, so administrators, if you're not aware, but like, I will like attempt to follow you all back on Instagram for the UCL Genera One page, and if you can like follow back as well, because some of you have not, and like, I follow everyone. I personally, so you can like follow us because we like unfollow you. You aren't following us, but we will follow you back to give you the opportunity in case you missed it. Okay, because like I like know and I have a list. I'm just trying to keep everyone like accountable in terms of like supporting one another on council. And I'm not like naming anyone specifically, but I'll go ahead and like follow you all back and like please share and I will write what you have to share if you don't even want to do it. Like I will do that for you. But thank you, that's like my super awesome announcement and then like the video, like it's really cool if you haven't seen it. If you haven't checked out the website, it's really beautiful. So go ahead and do that when you can and then I'll send you all the email right now. But thank you again. Thank you. We're going to move on to cabinet reports now, and if you would go ahead.
I am going to commit that I'm going to research the meaning of this following and follow me again. I'll find out what that means. I'm going to repeat it.
Any questions for Roy?
I think that, the USAC one mentoring program, the meetup is tomorrow, so November 8th. If you get time to get a mentor, you have our opportunity to meet up with the mentor at this event that will continue this one night tomorrow.
Any questions? Thank you. That's good. And Rob, any questions?
Thanksgiving buses, Zara will be sending that out. She's got that information. And I hope Deb is getting sunburned in Hawaii. No. I'm not in dinner.
So that'll be the conclusion of the reports for tonight. The time check for everyone is 10:08. We're going to move on to our funding obligations for tonight. Just a reminder to everyone, some of the funding obligations in today's, we did meet for last week, so we'll have to retroactively approve those allocations that those specific offices or individuals have discretion to make up to $500 for allocations for the year. So we're going to go through and approve those as we go along. So beginning with the contingency, funding out fund allocation from last week.
So first allocation for contingency from October 31st. The total required was. Yeah. The total required was $17,795.49. Of that, the total requested was $5,447.87, and we recommended $2,020.
Are there any questions about this allocation? Great, so is there a motion to approve the contingency fund allocation of $2,200? Aaron?
I motion to approve the contingency fund allocation of $2,200.
Seconded by Malik. Great, we're gonna go through and do the local roll call, beginning with IDP. Yes. EDP. Yes. Gen Rep 1. Yes. Gen Rep 2. Yes. Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yes.
CSC.
Yes.
CAC.
Yes.
Facilities. FSC.
Yes.
SWC.
Yes.
And TSR.
Yes.
Great, by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 to 0 to 0, this funding allocation has been approved. Moving on to the next one.
So for today's allocation, November 7th, the total required was $69,618.62. Of that, the total requested was $15,238.16, and we recommended $7,334. In the sake of full disclosure, the Facilities Commission did apply twice.
Any questions regarding this week's allocations?
Yes, that's an issue.
No, it's just something we're supposed to say, so there's no bias.
Any questions?
Why did you do that, John?
You
You don't think that. That was good. I'm motion for.
So is there a motion to, can we get a motion to approve funding allocation?
I motion to approve the funding allocation for November 7th, the amount of $7,334.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Malik. We're gonna go through and vote once again. IDP?
Yes.
EDP? Yes. Gen Rep 1? Yes. Gen Rep 2? Yes. Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yep.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
Facilities? FSC?
Yes.
SWC?
Yes.
TSR?
Yeah.
This motion passes by a vote of 11 to 0 to 1. Funding allocation has been approved. Moving on to the student wellness program plan.
Okay, we have no applications last week, but this week we received 2 applications, one for the Greater Memphis Smokeout, which is an event that happens every year. And it was for $186.80, and it came from Colleges Against Cancer, and we decided to fund them in full. Everything checked out. It was a hell of an event. The second one, just for transparency's sake, was Guggen Theater presents Cabaret, and unfortunately, we did not allocate any money to them just because the event was not related to whatsoever.
So the allocation was
$186.80.
So is there any opposition to the allocation of $186.80 via the student wellness program fund? Great, this is approved by consent. Moving on to Bruin Defenders.
So we have 5 student organizations applying. The way that would be that application from our office is that our group of funders directors first reads applications in the first round, gives a recommendation to our executive board, and then our executive board evaluates applications on an organizational lead line basis, and then we vote to approve it. So if all 5 of the applications were approved, we vote to fund them in full. The only reason why active lines is 333 is because there's a conference as opposed to other organizations, which have multiple students going. So the total, the amount is for $2,333.
Any questions for Chloe? Great, this is a consent item. Is there any opposition to the allocation of $2,333 via the Bruin Defenders grant fund? Seeing none, this allocation has been approved. Correct me if I'm wrong, the travel grant mini fund and ASR are 2 separate
They need to be
funds.
separate, yeah.
Okay, so maybe for now, let's make sure those 2 things are separate. So we'll begin with the travel grant mini fund.
Okay, so the Travel Grant Mini Fund has had 14 people apply, and I can go over each of the things that they applied for. Ideas, Southern California Data Science Conference, UNR School of Medicine interview, Open Data Science Conference, West San Francisco, Students for Zero Waste 2017, 2017 NASPA Western Regional Conference, Medical School interview, Behavior Science and Marketing Summit, Ruderman Inclusion Summit, Drake School of Business Campus Visit and Interview, Professional School Interview, Medical School Interview, SOS National Conference Building, The Bridge to Syria's Future, and then that was done 3 times, not by an organization, but individuals. And then the last one is a Ruderman Inclusion Summit. The total allocated was $5,996.78.
So are there any questions for Divya regarding this allocation? Given that it is a consent item, is there any opposition to the allocation of $5,996.78 via the AAC Travel Grant Committee Fund? Seeing none, this allocation has been approved, and we're now moving on to ASRF.
Okay, so for ASRF, there was only one person that applied, and it was for the Conversations with Combatants for Peace, and it was for $1,500.
Yeah, Eric.
Just want to be clear, how is this event related to academic success? No.
So for, let me pull it up. It brings different view, I think it's, sorry, I need to drag this up. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so for the most part, I can try and pull up their application. But I think the event, the way that I understood it, because I don't read these applications, because like I can't almost, the way that I understood the event was it brings different viewpoints to the table and had people understand those viewpoints from kind of a neutral basis. So moreover, not like academic success referendum wasn't founded for just like study halls or things like giving out notebooks and stuff. It was funded for ideas to be crossed and experiences to be crossed as well, because like the idea was to have a diverse campus that are able to have these events happen and be funded so that people can get a different understanding of the way that they like, kind of go about their lives.
So if I could solve the question too, because I am familiar with the group that organized the event and that the event itself is an organization. Okay. I'm again curious as to how it necessarily relates to academic success also, given that the premise is inviting ex-military members from Israel and Palestine to engage in conversation. So that's one thing. I'm also curious, given that the organization, that organized it was J Street, and it was called it Hillel, so I'm wondering where the $1,500 was spent on.
It was called a Hillel. Okay.
Yeah, and I know Hillel doesn't charge students for renting space.
One second, don't worry, I'll pull up the application.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I'll look it up because it's always good to double check. Can you come back, or is there any other funding things? I mean, I can.
There aren't any other funding things.
Here we go. Approved for December. So it says in goals and production. Perfect. I'll read out the statement of purpose. We are seeking funding from ASRF because we believe our program will be valuable educational experience that will engage students and provide knowledge and insight that will enable them to better navigate our campus. Our event will be a panel and Q&A by American Friends of Combatants for Peace. AFCFP is a nonprofit organization created by former Israel and Palestine combatants who have decided to lay down their arms and come together to collective pursuit of peace. AFCFP is an egalitarian, binational grassroots organization committed to nonviolence and peace resolution of the Israel-Palestine conflict. And then it goes for goals and objectives, and I can read that as well. The Israel-Palestine conflict, despite being a conflict that is many miles away, has a very severe and persuasive effects on this campus. It seems that every year there is an event that is deemed anti-Semitic by members of the Jewish community, a community that J Street U identifies and works with, as well as serves with the deemed problematic and insensitive.
I don't want to interrupt you, but just can you see what the event on itself? Like
Oh, sure.
So the program itself was merit.
Honorary.
Okay.
Yes. So not space.
Okay.
So speakers. Yeah.
So ASRF does cover honorary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the or under the.
So maybe in the future, if we could like specify what,
Just
because
funding
ASRF has like such a specific.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Sure.
Thank you. So the allocation was 1,500? Okay, so this is also a consent item. Is there any opposition to the approval of $1,500 of the ASRF this week? Seeing none, this motion has been approved. We're now going to move on to old business. I will say, if you all agree in the interest of time, it's 10:20. I think the Title IX bylaw change, given that it's something that we want to enact for future future councils isn't necessarily pressing right this second. I also know that CRC has some recommendations that they'd like to make regarding the exact change. I'm going to recommend that we need to table this for next week when we can all be here fully and present, and I will ask that the folks from CRC who have recommendations send the recommendations. Maybe we could, it's a Google Doc right now, and just save it as a PDF so we can make those recommendations on there so it's as smooth a process next week as possible. How does that sound? Great, so let's table that till next week. With that being said, I do not want to table this next item. It's an update to our October 3rd minutes. I sent out a document to you all when I sent out the agenda item, just for your knowledge, and also sent it out via email. So the October 3rd minutes currently read incorrectly to begin with. It currently says that certain offices that abstained did not abstain, and just we think we should clarify that. So as you can see up on the screen, we wanted to reflect that GenRec 2 abstained, CAC abstained, GenRec 3 voted no, and FSC voted no. I think it says like CFC right now. So we do want to amend that. The other amendment, sorry, I shouldn't even call it an amendment, it's really an update. And I want to clarify that by no means do I want this to be a relitigation of this vote, nor do I think that making this change precludes us from having this conversation in the future. In fact, I'd recommend that when the election board chair is appointed, God willing, next week, we feel really excited about it, that we can continue to have that conversation about that particular amendment. My concern is really the fact that, as was an issue for all of us with this USAC Live update, when we make decisions and don't reflect and clarify what those decisions are in our bylaws, it may lead to a situation in the future in which the lack of clarity could lead to a situation like the one that we had with USAC Live guidelines not being clear and updated. So the change that I'm proposing to the October 3rd minutes is literally, and I'll read you the language, just to reflect that. So it says 922 election code is amended, just to confirm that it's not amended. And an explanation for that is, while this vote did receive a simple majority, Article 13 of the USAC election code requires a two-thirds vote of the USAC to amend the election code, and therefore the amendment was not adopted. So it recognizes the fact that A, the vote was taken, B, the vote did receive a simple majority, but C, because the election code requires two-thirds of the USAC, which is 10 and not 9 in this situation, the election code amendment was not enacted. Again, I want to clarify, this is not at all a way to get the conversation and not come up. I would encourage those who feel passionately about this to bring it up as soon as our election board chair is appointed, and let's have a robust conversation about it. This is really just for the sake of clarity of our minutes. So in order for us to have a discussion, can we have a motion and a second so we can move into discussion?
I motion to update the minutes.
Great. Divya, and then second. Aaron? Okay, great. Discussion. I see Aaron. I'm sorry, I see Divya and Andrea's hands.
The only thing is the reason why it was considered the USAC and just setting that precedence in general was because Deb Geller talked about campus council discussing the USAC, right? We can't have campus council read our constitution because they're not a student affiliated group. So by setting the precedence of going to campus council, it's an administrative body, and we can't do that. But
so
we need to be able to go to judicial board because this is actually a discrepancy that we need to look into, whether it's the USAC or whether it's the voting members, because it's riddled throughout the Constitution. So I do know that it's like, you do want to keep this conversation going, but we also can't change the minutes because right now it's a historical document, and I'm starting a petition for JBoard to review these minutes to see if it is viable or if it's not. So we need to kind of table this until next week so that they can look over it. I just want that information to be able for all council to know that judicial board needs to be the ones that reviews our minutes and makes that decision of whether it did count or not.
So can you tell us where that is explicitly stated? Because judicial board has nothing to do with our minutes. We speak the minutes, our minutes are reported by our minutes taker, we approve them. Judicial board is not at all involved in that process.
They need to actually look at the bylaws in comparison to the minutes to see if that vote counted or not under the
This is
Constitution.
different, right? So I think even if we updated the minutes, it doesn't at all preclude you from going to JBoard. Right, but I do think that this is a clarification thing specifically, right? So right now, whether we change this bylaw or not, that election code change was not enacted, right? So I think you have all the more power to go to JBoard, and I'd recommend you doing so, but I don't think that that should preclude us from making this clarification.
So with that clarification, just as you said, the minutes were spoken.
Yes.
The minutes are spoken in a certain way that they can't retroactively be changed after they were approved. So the thing is with what you're saying is like, you said it was amended, they need to go back and they need to look at it because now it's been time that passed that they have to review it. So like, I understand that like what you just said with the minutes being spoken, it was spoken in a certain way and it needs to be reviewed by judicial board.
So Adriana, your hand was up in the air.
I was gonna say that I'm honestly, I feel like I'm just like not informed enough about like what the protocol would be to do this. Like, is there precedent for previous councils going back and changing their minutes? Is that like, I just don't know if it's allowed or not. I don't know how we find that out.
Maybe we can refer to Roy on that?
Well, I didn't mean to put my hand to specifically weigh in on that exact answer, but to participate in the discussion, so I don't want to set myself up to answer that.
Okay.
So maybe we'll.
I don't know who would be to answer that question. I don't know, like, I at least personally, like, wouldn't feel comfortable about it, because I feel like last time we voted without knowing for sure, like, what was going on.
Yeah.
And like, I personally would want to wait until we knew for sure.
Don't we amend our minutes in the beginning so we can change them?
Yeah.
So we can't do it when it's something like this, just because it's like, judicial board needs to understand what's happening with this case.
After we're J board, you can look at your sideline.
I think it's important for us to separate the two issues here, right? One of the issues is clarifying 2/3, and I think that's entirely justifiable, and that all the more power to you to go to J board. The other point of it is the fact that a vote was taken, and currently, if you read our minutes, it reflects in a way that one would interpret that an action was taken and enacted that day. Right now, as it currently stands without this J board case, that change was not enacted. So therefore, for the sake of clarification for our student body, it is important that we clarify the code. If we determine then that that was not the case and J board decides to interpret it differently, I think we can then clarify that a J board case happened and that was changed. But I think it's important for us to provide clarification, and we can even put a date as to when this was amended to ensure that there is some explanation. I'm not worried about students a year from now, I'm worried about students 5 years from now who will look at these minutes and not understand what happened.
That's why they open up the case and then we change the minutes. We can't really tamper with the minutes because what was said was said. And we also didn't understand until Deb said that campus council interpreted it as 14 to 10. We didn't
So
know.
that wasn't campus council that waited on that. Campus council waited on the First Amendment violations.
They also weighed in on the 14.
But I think we all expressed that earlier too. Sorry, I don't want to make Aaron had his hand up and then Roy.
I'm so like confused about the problem is afterward now. Like, isn't it just right now we're just amending the minutes so that it reflects what happened?
Because we don't like understand what actually happened. Because J board has to read our constitution and understand if the USAC means the council members or if it means the voting members. Because right now that wasn't specified yet. Like it really wasn't. We don't know.
Roy and then Chloe, Malik, and Saran.
So it would seem to me that in terms of judicial board's role relative to minutes, the only way they would have standing to review the subject would be if the council would take an action, and then that action could be challenged. But at this point, you haven't amended your minutes, you have not done anything to your minutes. So I mean, I don't think there's a role for the judicial board until you do something. And then someone could ask for that whether that action is according to constitution or bylaws. The judicial board's function is to interpret conflicts or potential conflicts with the constitution and bylaws. So, you know, until you violate your bylaws or your constitution, in theory, there's nothing to review. So that's one thing that seems to me. And it would seem to me that I would agree that it would be a secondary issue to bring a question to judicial board as to what constitutes 2/3 of what is this the correct interpretation. So that's a separate thing. I don't think it has to do with the minutes question.
So Malik, sorry, Chloe. Yes.
So just to clarify, so we can amend
Mm-hmm. Is there an answer to that?
Can we amend minutes?
It's common sense. If you discover an error, to correct it. So, you know, to say parliamentary acceptable, that I think is probably an over-interpretation of that. I think procedurally, if you find an error, even if it's after the fact, you correct it. And the interpretation of that is up to the judicial, right? But it's an admin task. It's just trying to clarify that which actually happened. Mm-hmm. The significance of that is again a second thing.
We'll come back to you after this, but I think Malik and Saran have their hands up, and we'll come right back.
Yeah, just expanding on that, I mean, I think that, you know, there's a reason that you vote to approve your minutes. It's that you're voting with the sense or need. The the degree to which your words or your meaning were captured accurately is fairly representative. And if the question is, if it is brought up to the body that there is something that is not fairly representing an action or a statement, I don't know that there's any time in which it's not appropriate to adjust, correct that record, if the record is not correct. I mean, and that's for this body to determine.
Just add on to what I said, I just would like to point out that we spent about 10 plus more minutes, like, discussing something that didn't even actually happen, or that didn't happen because of a vote, so I'm kind of confused as to why we're still on this. I don't know, that's kind of just where I am now, I'm confused, it's like 10:30 now. Talking about something that didn't even happen. I just would like to know why.
Yeah, so my thought of that, I just think that it's just so little disrespectful and keep having this conversation go on when I feel like it could be certain individuals talking about this outside of council, because this is just getting ridiculous. Like, it's 10:30 on a Tuesday and attention first, and I got work at 8 a.m., so I'm not. So, can you just please like come to a consensus or have an outside meeting and then come to council with our resolution?
So just quickly answer Malik's question, and hopefully we can take it to a vote. Again, my intention of bringing this up was not to relitigate this. I think there's a time and place to relitigate it. And so whether that's a conversation you continue to have off the table or wait for election board to propose a change and then relitigate this, amazing. My concern is that right now, if the student picks up these minutes, they're going to be confused as to whether or not something happened. And I think we have a responsibility, if we're going to talk about transparency and accountability, to clarify what did happen and what did not happen. Yeah.
So this is just to amend the minutes to reflect what did not.
Yes, that's it. That's it, exactly. Exactly. Yes, the motion's already on the table, we'll go straight to a vote, beginning with IDP. EVP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1.
Yeah.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
No.
CSC.
Yes.
CAC.
Yes.
Facilities.
Yes.
FSC.
Yes.
SWC.
Yes.
TSR.
Abstain.
Therefore, by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, to 1 to 2, this motion passes, and we will amend our update our minutes of October 3rd. Moving along, we have one item of new business. It's a resolution demanding better practice conditions for the USAC dance community. That's coming from Zara.
So this is just like the last chapter of council this evening. First off, thank you to those who helped co-sponsor the resolution. Just to sort of do with a brief overview, the beginning part, I guess like the whereas clauses are more about like the dance community's presence at UCLA, their history, their contributions to our campus. They also go over the current practice conditions and the safety hazards that are present in the parking lots that are a general place of practice as of now. It also goes over the new changes made to the John Wooden Center based on the social justice referendum to help start the conversation, but that changes still need to continue being made. The secondary part, like the resolves, further resolves, I'm not exactly sure how to go over this, but it goes over several different changes that were proposed by the dance community based on their experiences. So there are different sorts of spaces that would be tackled, including academic spaces, residential life, UCLA recreation, and then the types of changes that would be made to those spaces. So that ranges from making reservations more accessible in those spaces, repurposing those spaces, making some of the single-purpose spaces more multi-purpose spaces, as well as actual renovations to these spaces, which would include construction of buildings themselves. So these were recommendations that were proposed at the town hall this evening, and the last part of the resolution is for our council to continue to commit to supporting the dance community as they continue to advocate for concrete solutions to address this issue that has been present for decades, and just to ensure that they do get the space that they have the deserving of. for the month.
So in order for us to move into discussion, we'll need a motion to approve this resolution and a second. Is there a motion on the table? Thank you, Aaron, second. Thank you, Malik. Discussion now. Yes, Julia.
Total technicality, but my understanding is that you have 3 sponsors for a resolution. I don't know if that's like a max or like.
So I looked at past ones and some of them had 5, so I thought it was just, 3 was the minimum.
Yeah.
Is there anything to Justin?
Yeah, so do resolutions, do they bind the council for like ever, or do they just, it's in 1 year?
It's just.
It's more like a statement of support. It's not really, meant to be like a conflict or binding in any way. It's more like you, by voting to pass a resolution, you're saying that you support what the resolution stating. So generally, it's good practice to kind of like discuss it first and then see if any council members have any friendly amendments to make to the resolution. And then we would go ahead and essentially read through each item so you're very clear on what your resolution is stating before you take a vote to pass the resolution.
On that topic, I would like to make a couple of friendly amendments, just for the sake, because our resolutions are things that we are recommending and calling for, so I don't know that it's appropriate for us to let it be resolved for the school arts and architectures, right, because that's within their power, we can't necessarily mandate they do something, so if we can just amend it to say, let it be resolved that the USAC calls upon the school of blah, 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 to do X, Y, and Z, and the USAC calls upon ORL to do X, Y, and Z, because we technically can't demand that another entity do something in the same way that we would want another entity to demand that we do something. We can't force them to do something. We can't demand, we can't force.
So for all of these, like the part that, well, I guess it would be all of them except for the last one.
Exactly.
So they would be changed to let it be resolved
That the
that the USAC calls upon blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay, like good practice.
Yeah.
Chloe?
So I guess it's like a friendly amendment, I don't know how to like navigate, but so at the top, they mentioned like for example, that like that was already having like maybe like so maybe adding like a sentence of phrase to say like requesting that during like renovations that they need to solicit feedback from the next week. Maybe not really
Should I probably have that psychological resolve?
Well, I mean, then would it be best for all of those entities to solicit feedback from the dance community for all of those decisions? So it would be like another line in the top.
Maybe we add at the top bubble it, let it be resolved. Like, let it be resolved that each of the following.
Or maybe the second to last.
What if,
Oh, sorry.
no, seriously.
Because I guess like the first let it be resolved are all of like the recommendations, and then the second to last one would be like, for all of these recommendations, they should solicit feedback from the dance community, and then the last one would be us.
So maybe just for the sake of time, we can put language on that, so let it be resolved that all the aforementioned campus entities engage with the UCLA dance communities in implementing the aforementioned change. I use the word aforementioned twice, but you get the gist. Jessica, do you have access to editing that document right now? Or Zara, do you have access?
I do.
Maybe we can just type it in directly so everyone can see. Oh, amazing, perfect.
Is it showing up?
So can we just scroll down a little bit? Maybe it's just a login page. Oh, perfect.
Okay.
That all the aforementioned campus entities work with the UCLA dance communities in implementing the, I don't want to list of changes. Yeah, the list of changes. Or maybe it continues to solicit feedback.
Feedback from the UCLA with the previously mentioned changes.
Maybe with regard to.
With regard to the previously mentioned. The proposed. Ow, I can't spell changes.
Okay, so while she's typing that out, just for the sake of time, I'm sorry if it seems like I'm rushing everyone, but are there any other changes we want to make to this resolution? Any other friendly amendments? In that case, per our historical precedent, I know it's going to be frustrating because we're running late now, but Zara, would you mind reading the resolution in its entirety so everyone knows what the changes that are being made are?
A resolution debating better access conditions for the UCLA dance community. Whereas the dance community at UCLA is currently comprised of over 20 competitive and exhibition dance teams, with each group composed of at least 40 to 60 members. And whereas many of UCLA's current dance teams have had a prominent presence on campus for over 30 years, with strong ties to UCLA's cultural organizations. And whereas the dance community at UCLA has made substantial meaningful contributions to our campus culture, performing at UCLA programs and traditions including but not limited to culture shows, spring skating, SC bonfire, athletic games, business room life, and Bruin Day. And whereas the parking structures on UCLA's campus, which many UCLA dancers rely on to practice for at least 10 hours a week, are filled with hundreds of cars either parked or in motion, creating a hazardous environment for dance teams to practice. And whereas despite the 2016 social justice referendum mandating that the John Wooden Center remain open 24 hours a day, 4 days a week to provide safer venues for practices, dance teams are still unable to access the 3 studio spaces until after 10 p.m. on most nights due to programming reservations. And whereas the dance community at UCLA has made their strong feelings regarding this issue evident by organizing a town hall event for the campus community on Tuesday, November 7, 2017, at which students will describe current practice experiences of dance teams, outline a list of concrete solutions for UCLA administration to act on, and emphasize the need for an increase in studio space on campus. Let it be resolved that the USAC call on
calls upon the School of Arts and Architecture
calls upon the School of Arts and Architecture to extend current hours of dance studios, including but not limited to Kaufman Hall, and open studio reservations to dance teams during times that the studios are not utilized by student affiliates of the school. And let it be further resolved that the USAC calls upon the Office of Residential Life to increase accessibility of reservation options for dance practice spaces such as Patrick Hall Movement Studio, and expand the number of spaces on the Hill devoted to self-expression through movement. And let it be further resolved that the USAC calls upon UCLA Recreation to reassess the number of spaces within its facilities that could be designated as multi-purpose and increase the accessibility of reservation options for UCLA dance teams. And let it be further resolved that the USAC calls upon UCLA Recreation to consider the renovation of single-purpose spaces such as the racquetball courts within the John Wooden Center into multi-purpose spaces to increase the amount of indoor space available for dance teams to practice. And let it be further resolved that the USAC calls upon UCLA Recreation to invest in portable mirrors as well as storage and transportation options for these items in order for dance teams to have the adequate accommodations necessary for rehearsal. And let it be further resolved that all the aforementioned campus entities work with, do we have to say that the USAC calls upon the aforementioned entities? That the USAC calls upon all the aforementioned campus entities to work with and continue to solicit feedback from the UCLA dance community with regard to the proposed changes. And let it be finally resolved that the Undergraduate Students Association Council will continue to support the dance community at UCLA as they advocate for concrete solutions to address the lack of available space necessary for groups to practice in a healthy, functional environment.
Amazing. So raise your hand and then
where is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, it's that.
While Zara's doing that, Rob, do you?
I think you also talk about student groups will discuss, since it happened, say, discuss.
Which students? Okay.
And if you can just, for the sake of grammar too, then change outline to outline and emphasize to emphasize.
You can delete
office up, just say residential.
Okay.
Are there any other friendly amendments to the resolution? Seeing none, there is a motion on the table and a second, so we will go into a vote, beginning with IDP. Yes. EDP. Yes. Gen Rep 1. Yes. Gen Rep 2. Yes. Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yep.
CSC. Yes. CAC.
Yes.
Facilities. Yeah. FSB.
Yes.
SWC.
Yes.
And TSR.
Yep.
Congratulations, USAC, we just unanimously passed our first resolution. Thank you, Zara, for taking leadership on that. We're now going to move on to announcements. Are there any announcements tonight?
Yes, I have some. Black is Mutual is open until Thursday. There's going to be a reception held on Thursday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. There'll be food provided and everything. Special shout out to Campus Pearls and African Arts Ensemble for helping put this together. As usual, every Wednesday is Word on Wednesdays from 7 to 9 in Buffalo Art Gallery, and Mondays at concerts every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. in Buffalo.
Great. Any other announcements? Yes.
I know, or I heard that COPS is now up to 53 permanent clinicians. Their previous number was like 45, I think, so they hired a few more people to stay on permanently as opposed to being a contract or temporary.
David, you know?
Yeah, resident workshop in Ackerman 2408 on Thursday from 4 to 6.
Any other announcements? As you all probably know, Friday is Veterans Day. The Student Veteran Association is hosting their annual Warrior Games on Thursday in Burke Plaza. The whole idea is that Veterans Day tends to be a more somber day and more intense. So the Student Veteran Association hosts this event the day before Veterans Day as a celebration of their experience and their service to our country. So I know it would be a lot of fun to see a lot of us come out. I'd really encourage you all to stop by. Any other announcements? Great, in that case, the attendance sheet has already gone around. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight? See Aaron's hand up first. What time is it? 10:46. Second. Christina, thanks. All right, we're gonna do vocal roll call one last time for tonight. Beginning with IDP, EDP, Gen Rep 1, Gen Rep 2, Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yep.
CSC. Yes. CAC.
Yes.
Facilities. FSC.
Yep.
SWC. Yes. TSR.
Yes.
Great, so I vote 12 to 0 to 0, motion passes, and we've officially adjourned. Good night, USAC Live. We can do